Greetings, Indie Warriors. Welcome. It's the end of the year, and that means one thing. It's the I Dream of Indie Games Game Awards, the official, the only real Game Award show that matters. Did you know that, Silent Signs?
But most importantly, it's the one time of year where you get to see that we're not, in fact, just AI voices. We're human beings.
Really getting sick of those accusations
I'm an
out there.
AI
Stop
voice.
calling me AI. This is actual video proof now that I'm a real person, damn it. But welcome, everybody. It was an exciting year in the indie gaming scene, and a particular stinky one, I would say, for the AAA gaming scene. So we have this year that indies really rose up to the occasion. I mean, when you think about the game that was the talk of the year, what comes to mind for you, Silent Signs?
Talk of the year.
There's one for me that's very obvious.
Claire Obscure?
Yes, Claire Obscure. Mike, you would agree with that? Ashton, I assume?
Absolutely. Yep.
It only swept at the Game Awards, so, you know, no one's even talking about it.
Only
9 out of
9
11.
awards. Only 9. That's like, whatever, I could do that.
And if for some reason that didn't come to mind, you're definitely thinking about Silk Song, so...
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, that was definitely the talk of the year, but there were a lot of exciting games in the AA scene. Now, I consider Claire Obscure a AA game. I think they were referring to it as an indie game on the official Game Awards. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but the point is it was a small team making an awesome thing. As you mentioned on the recent podcast, Mike, this should be pretty embarrassing for the AAA industry. Kind of elaborate on that, I'm curious. Why do you think this is an embarrassment for the big AAA games out there?
Because I don't know how much Claire Obscure costs to make, but
$10 million.
I think it's fair to say... What'd you say?
$10 million.
$10 million. So, I mean...
Not
that
exactly
alone,
indie.
yeah, not exactly indie fair, but we're talking about AAA games that cost sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars, and a $10 million game just shows that vision and talent just matters above all else, and you just can't have executives dictating what's going to happen. The fact that it swept these awards really kind of shows that budget doesn't really mean that much when it comes down to it. I mean, maybe it means something. 10 million is not nothing, but when we're comparing to these like behemoth publishers that don't release anything interesting anymore, like EA and Ubisoft, like what value are they providing to the industry at this point?
Yeah, well, we're going to be talking about some very different games, I would say, than you've seen on the Game Awards, because we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of the indie gaming scene. We played so many games this year. We probably set a record for just sheer amount of games that we played. Now, Ashton, I know you were only kind of here for 1/4 of the year, but you got your hands dirty too, played quite a few indies, maybe more than you're used to playing. I want to get your thoughts. What do you think of the industry, where it's at right now, 2025, looking back on it? What do you think? AAA kind of floundering a bit in a lot of people's eyes, but the indie scene rising.
I think that I agree. I think that it's very interesting to see how things have shifted. I think indies are becoming a lot more reliable when it comes to providing an interesting and new experience. And I think that when you look back at the year and you look at what games did impact the world, I think we're looking at indies or AA's that are making more of a splash. I think that the only like AAA game that I sort of was really excited for this year was Borderlands 4, because I'm a Borderlands apologist. But even that, I was sort of like, thank you. Even that, I was like, I'm playing this because of the love of the genre, like the franchise, and not because I think it's a fantastic game. So I think that we're seeing a lot of sort of like mid AAA games releasing when you've got big AA and indie game titles making much more of an impact. So you look at like Peak made a huge impact this year, and as a multiplayer game, people loved it. And then you think about like some other big releases, and it just sort of doesn't really hit the same way. And I think that people crave uniqueness, and that's what indie games do so well. So I think that's why we're seeing a bit of a shift.
Craving that uniqueness, innovation. Silent Signs, do you agree? What's your take on 2025? Do you think the indies kind of dominated, like the narrative kind of is out there?
Yeah, definitely. I think this space that we occupy is the only space where gaming is really thriving, unless you're talking about like gacha games and microtransactions. They're making a lot of money.
They are.
But
Yes.
Are they really making waves and, like making an impact in people's lives? Not in a good way.
They're taking up a lot of their time for sure and eating up a lot of their money, yes. But impactful games that you really will be having conversations like we're going to have today about, maybe not so much. But on that topic, let's get into some of the categories that we have lined up here. We're going to be talking about our favorite soundtrack of the year, best visuals, the most innovative indie game to release, the best narrative, weirdest game, best solo dev release, best remaster, the most disappointing title of the year, funniest game, staff choices. We all have 10 that we brought to the table, and that was a difficult list to put together, at least for me. Anyways, we're going to shout out a few other indie games that we believe deserve recognition, have our AA game of the year. I made this category specifically to kind of separate the Clair Obscurs of the world from the smaller indie releases, and then get into our indie game of the year. All of that said, you want to hop right into it? Go into soundtrack here?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
The first game we want to shout out, I should mention the way we're going to be doing this is there's not going to be a conclusive winner. We're just going to kind of talk about some of the soundtracks that we really loved, because we all played these different games this year, and it's not really going to be something where we can just say definitively that was the best soundtrack. We're just honoring a lot of different games here. That's kind of a theme for the whole show. So the first soundtrack we want to talk about is Demon School Silent Signs, a game that was near and dear to your heart. This was composed by Kurt Feldman. What did you like about this particular soundtrack?
This particular soundtrack was so dynamic and earwormy, mostly because every scene that you go in, like, there was I don't know exactly how many songs there were. There was 5 or 6 maybe. But every scene that you would enter, it would be the same song playing, but it would shift slightly to be appropriate for the situation. So if you're like casually browsing around town, the song would be a little bit more slow and chill. And then once you entered a battle, it would really pick up. It was just a really cool...
It's like an adaptive soundtrack.
Yeah.
I love when games do that. Like,
and then
when the scene becomes dark or something, the mood kind of changes with the music. And
the
I like
songs
stuff like that.
It was like 5 or 6 songs, but they all adapted in that way.
Now, to be clear,
That's
there's
really
like way
cool.
more than just 5 or 6 songs in the whole game, right? There's about like 42 or so, I believe. I was looking at the soundtrack today.
Yeah, but like the ones that you're gonna hear the most, like the ones when you're, going day in and day out. I think maybe there's 42 because of how many different adaptations of the songs there are. But you'll hear the same kind of themes over again, but in a new and interesting way. So it's really cool.
Fantastic. Did either of you check
That's
out Demon
awesome.
School or any of the music from it?
No. Even though Silent Sign
No.
said it was so good, I have not got around to playing it. I feel like it was actually a crime because of how much you loved it. So.
It's okay.
Sorry.
There's so many good games that come out, and each of us have our own kind of assignments and things that we have to do. So it's really hard to get to all of the good games that somebody else has played because we're busy playing all of the good games that we played.
Yeah. Remember when I said I was going to play all the Golden Genies this year? That was hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to do that.
I'd be curious, how
No
far
way.
did you actually make
Not
it in that
possible.
quest?
Oh, not far at all. Like, I tried Look Outside. I tried Ender Magnolia a little bit, like a very little
Mike
bit.
played
but
all the
I was-
ones that he reviewed. Those are the ones
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad you brought up
Exactly.
Ender Magnolia there, because that's actually next on my list for best soundtrack of the year, or one of the best soundtracks of the year, because this is a game that I absolutely love. It's going to appear again, spoiler for later in this show, but this soundtrack is so atmospheric in this game. It really has that moody, evocative, like, piano to it. I'm a sucker. The piano is my favorite instrument in the world. I play it not very well. My daughter's actually much better at it already than I ever was at her age, because she's taking lessons and I was a dum-dum and just tried to learn by ear. But this game has so many emotional tracks in it. I love a good orchestrated piece as well, as you know, Silent Signs. I'm huge on the bombastic, over-the-top stuff. Everything I do is to be epic and grand, and that's what Ender Magnolia was all about in its musical compositions. So that is one that I definitely wanted to mention today. Did you enjoy that soundtrack as well?
I
believe
love
you did.
that soundtrack. It reminds me of Nier, which is one of my favorite in the more AAA space of gaming. So obviously that's a huge compliment. But yeah, like the vocal tracks on Ender Magnolia and Under Lilies.
Two great games.
Two great games. Fantastic. Beautiful.
I believe this one was also mentioned too, but Look Outside's soundtrack has made this list. So this is a game that you adore, Silent Signs. I adore. Mike, you tried it a little bit. What were kind of your early impressions of Look Outside? Did you get to kind of hear any of the music and get a feel for it?
Yeah, I did. So I tried a couple of hours of Look Outside. I was playing it with a friend and we kind of switched on and off. And this is a me thing. I struggle with survival horror games a lot of the time because I just never fucking know where to go. I never know where to go. I'm always confused as to like where to go, what to do, and I was kind of confused by that in Look Outside too after a little while. So I didn't stick with it, but the whole atmosphere, the soundtrack, the sound design, all the creepy writing, the amazing pixel art, I mean, it was a vibe, that game. I respect it tremendously for everything it was doing. I'm not sure if I'll ever really pick it up again. I'm just not sure it was for me, but I can just objectively recognize the quality at play there.
Now, I know if you're a huge fan like me of 80s synth, you're going to find something to love on this soundtrack, because it really reminds me of like classic slasher movies almost, John Carpenter, stuff like that, and the soundtrack is fantastic. I eat that stuff up. I eat up the Stranger Things soundtrack, all that kind of 80s throwback stuff, but I'm from that era, so it makes sense. Great soundtrack, great game. We're going to be talking about that one more later. Mike, you specifically requested this soundtrack be on the list. It is a game that I did not play, much to my chagrin. Haste is the game. I listened to it a little bit today, but why did Haste have to make this list?
Oh, listen, I don't put a lot of game soundtracks on my Spotify playlist. It's just not a thing I listen to in my spare time a whole lot outside of the game. I loved Haste's soundtrack. It was so sort of... I don't even know how to describe it because I'm just not good at describing music, but it was this very sort of bouncy, synthy, electronic, energetic soundtrack, and it just created such a good energy for the game. And I don't know, it just sounded amazing. There were so many different tracks. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens. I can't say that all of them resonated with me the same way, but Haste is just such a great game, and it will be popping up again, also, spoiler alert, but the soundtrack was one of my favorite qualities of it. It was just so great.
Yeah, I got to listen to a little bit of it today, and I love any game soundtrack that gets you moving. I was actually, believe it or not, despite my physical appearance, I was a big DDR fan. I used to love playing DDR. I still get out the map from time to time, and I suck at it, but I just love it, and it's exercise in a way, too. But man, anything with like those thumping techno drums and the nerdy music, I love it all. I eat all that stuff up, and I was definitely getting that vibe from Haste as well. But another game you had on this list, I have to go back to you, Mike. Citizen Sleeper 2.
Yeah.
This game is very much not my thing, so I didn't listen to the soundtrack myself, but what makes it special where you want to include it?
Yeah, I mean, Citizen Sleeper 2 has a difficult challenge ahead of it when you play it because there's no voice acting. It is very much Indian. There's so much dialogue, so much text. So I feel like it's one of those games where the soundtrack really needs to matter because when you're doing all this reading, it is all you're hearing for the most part. There might be some sound effects, some like moments of daily life on the space station you may be on or something like that, but it's largely ambient noise and the soundtrack has to be great. And it delivered so well, and again, I don't know if we're going to be playing samples of it or anything with this, but because it's hard to communicate exactly how well it fits the whole atmosphere of the game, but it's another one that I had a couple tracks on my playlist just because it just puts me in such a frame of mind. I instantly remember like key moments of the game when some of these amazing songs play. It's really solid stuff.
Now, you've also been raving about Skate Story's soundtrack recently and how you want to go see the Blood Cultures, who I believe are playing in a town near you soon. They're a big part of this soundtrack. I believe it's also made with a John Flo, if I have that name right. So these two work together to create the soundtrack for Skate Story. What did you like about this one? I know you too, Silent Signs, are kind of into this, right?
I do dig the vibes.
Yeah, Blood Cultures is like... I don't know how to describe it other than like really cool synthy, like almost stoner music. It's so
lo-fi.
It's so Yeah, it's so chill, but it's just an eargasm the entire time. And it fits Skate Story so well because it's so God, how do you describe the visuals of Skate Story? It's so trippy, it's so dreamlike. And Blood Cultures fits that so well. Now, John Fio, I know, also did the soundtrack, and I neglected to mention that in my review too, which I feel bad about, but I don't recall offhand which tracks were his, because I think it was just today that his part of the soundtrack released on Spotify, and I did not get a chance to check it out yet. But I will eagerly be doing that as well. But Blood Cultures is what has been on my playlist on repeat for the past couple weeks.
Fantastic. Now, I can't leave you out, Miss Ashton. I know it's not really fair. You were only here for a quarter of the year with us, but we have to talk about Clair Obscure's soundtrack, right? Even though it is a more expensive game. What did you like about it, Ashton? This is an amazing soundtrack.
I think it is genuinely one of the best soundtracks in gaming ever. I think that every single track you hear is so completely distinct from the last one that you listen to. Obviously, they have the same themes, a bit like Demon School, where you have sort of like motifs that echo through the whole game. But some of the boss fight music is up there with some of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. The mix of like vocals and various different genres that you travel between. You've got the sort of classical ambient background stuff. You've got sort of rock ballads that happen during boss fights. It's really incredible. And I also think the whole story of how they found the composer for Clair Obscur is such an interesting one as well. They just put a post out being like, hey guys, we're looking for someone to develop a soundtrack for our game. And this guy developed an incredible soundtrack and I assume will get lots of work going forward, because I think that he's shown that he knows how to make a good video game soundtrack. But I think that every boss fight is so distinct from the last one, and it has its own vibe entirely, and I think it's just such a clever use of music to echo everything that's going on within it. And also so very French the whole time, so very French, which I love.
I love that there's all these like little success stories within Clair Obscur's success too, with all these kind of smaller people that you weren't really thinking much about rising to the occasion and making something awesome together. That's like the classic story. I love it.
Yeah, did you all see the performance at the Game Awards?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Amazing.
I didn't.
They did the main theme for Clair Obscur at the Summer Game Fest, I think, and that was incredible. But then they did, I can't remember which song it was exactly, but they opened the show with a song from Clair Obscur, and it had two vocalists, and they were fucking going for it, and it sounded fantastic. It was really good.
That's awesome.
And the guitar.
That's really cool. I should check that out.
Rippin'.
Just off the cuff here, do any of you have any further honorable mentions for sound design in an indie game this year? Silent Signs, Ashton, Ashton, go ahead.
Well, sound design is its own category, right?
I don't think we did an actual sound design category, so I think it's worth a shout out here.
Oh, I see, because I absolutely have one on that. Wait, Ashton, were you going to say something first?
I was going to say it's not specifically like the whole soundtrack, but I would like to shout out the songs in To a T for being absolutely fucking fantastic. They're just so goofy, and it's like watching the beginning, like the opening of a kids TV show, but they're so weird and wonderful and also really catchy. So every single time I got to the end of an episode in To a T, I was just sitting there jamming out to the songs they've put in it. So I would like to shout out the two songs in To a T because they're well goofy, but I love them.
Nice. Yeah, I have to shout out Total Chaos for sound design. Because, well, I don't know. With a horror game like that, I don't know what's considered the soundtrack versus the sound design, because, like, the soundtrack is, a bunch of eerie creaks and noises and everything like that. But, wow, that game immersed me so hard. I remember there was one puzzle in it where I just had to turn this, like, gear thing a bunch of times. And even just the sound, like, the creaky, dreadful sound of that just gave me so many shivers. Everything about that game kind of scares the crap out of me, and I didn't get to finish it this year, and I still fully plan to, because it's just so immersive. Even if it has some survival horror things that still frustrate me, but I can get over those.
Yeah, when you bring up stuff like that, I'm so glad this year, Silent Signs, we invested in a surround sound system, because when games take advantage of like 5.1, 7.1 Atmos now, you really are getting some incredible stuff. I feel like sound is always an underrated aspect of video games. Would you agree?
Definitely. And you'd also be surprised which ones don't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Like some of the higher budget, releases that we play, we're like, where's the surround sound?
Yeah, I actually was playing Silk Song on PC, and I was like, this is only a 2.1 audio mix. You got this beautiful soundtrack. Shout out to Silk Song, too. Has a lot of great music, but they didn't take advantage of surround sound or anything.
It's a shame.
Unfortunate. But anything else to shout out, or should we head to the next category?
We've got a ways to go, so we
All right.
better get it moving.
Yeah, we
Right.
do.
It's like 10:30 in the UK, so we should probably
Exactly.
Past my bedtime.
Let's go on to best visuals. We have quite the list here. I will kick it off with Constance. All you really have to do is look at Constance to see how beautiful it is. Even though I didn't love the game necessarily, I love the way this game looked. It really does look like a cartoon painting brought to life. So vivid, so colorful, so bright, animates incredibly. One of the best looking indie games of the year. I know you played it with me, Silent Signs. Do you have any comments or any disagreements or agreements with that statement I just made there?
No,
on
I think you
Constance visuals?
summed it up quite beautifully. I also like that there's like the outside world where she's like,
Yeah.
isn't she a graphic designer? Or she's like
Oh, well, she
something
works
on
a
a
very
computer.
stressful like job, similar to mine, kind of, where she's dealing with
Content
emails
creation
and-
of
yeah.
some kind or something. But I like there's like the contrast of the outside world and the inside world, and like the whimsy of the inside world compared to like the monotony of the outside
Yeah,
world.
absolutely. Beautiful,
Really cool.
beautiful game. You put on this list next, Morsels. A very trippy looking, interesting game. I don't know if it was my favorite visual style of the year, but it's certainly zany. Why'd you include this one?
I am a sucker for weird. This one in particular I really liked because it kind of harkened me back to like, I don't know, old school Nickelodeon cartoons where it was like verging on gross at times, but in a cool, fun,
Yeah.
cartoony way.
That's almost like that Ren and Stimpy vibe.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You always go for Ren and
Or like
Stimpy.
Real Monsters
Yeah.
a little bit.
That's
but
more what I
colorful.
go for. Yeah, all real
I'm
monsters.
old, so it makes sense.
They're like the same age. I just wasn't a Ren and
Was
Stimpy
Our Real
girl.
Monsters that? You're probably right. Yeah.
But anyway, or like Rocko's Modern Life.
Yes. Yeah.
More like along that
Oh,
vibe
yeah.
is what I think of, where it's like, oh, that's kind of gross, but like I like it. I don't know. I just thought there was really creative character designs, the different little monsters that you can collect, as well as the weird NPCs, like the giant whale, and like the villains are all cat based. All of the enemies are like not
Well,
enemies.
that's always
but
a win in video
the
games.
bosses are all cats because you're a mouse. So
I'm loving the uptick of cats in video games over the last
great.
few years.
No
Fantastic
complaints.
to see.
really, really fun, really different, really creative. I like the CRT filter in this case. You should check it out.
Very cool. Absalom, though, I know that was either me or you that put that on the list. Gorgeous, gorgeous brawler this year. One of my favorite games of the year. Tell us a little bit about the art style of Absalom and why it's so great.
We got another one that's quite cartoony, but this one I think really stuck out to me because of kind of the worlds and the backgrounds. I love the look of the forests and the different little like buildings that you can enter. I thought it was really creatively done in a genre that I feel like doesn't usually bring that.
Yeah, almost like a comic book art style, too.
Yeah.
The characters all look and animate incredible in this
Yeah.
game, too. So, gorgeous game. You all heard a lot about Absalom this year. We could go on, and we will later.
Yeah,
talk about it.
more to come on that one.
Eclipsium is on this list. I hope that was you, Mike.
Yes. Eclipsium is a really cool looking game. I don't even know how that game was made. Like it has pieces that look almost like photographs or like video, but sort of pixel. I feel like I need to even bring it up to fully describe it well. But oh, wait. I'm getting my computers confused. Never mind. I'm not going to bring it up right now. But point is, very cool looking game, very creative visuals, definitely very trippy, very weird. I think it made an impact on its presentation quite a bit.
Well, I want to shout out Steel Seed, a game that is very underrated in my opinion this year, Silent Signs. Great little stealth game. there are points in this title, and you looked at it too when I was playing, and you're like, wow, are you playing a AAA game? I'm like, no, this is an indie, Steel Seed. And I think this game looks gorgeous. It really is to the level of a higher quality AAA game of the modern times. A lot of great environments in the game, great character designs. I know the story was a little weak. A lot of people had their issues with this game. I'm a defender of Steel Seed, though. I don't remember. I think it did make my top 10 for the year. So,
Did it?
Yeah. And I'm not Mr.
Spoilers.
Stealth either. So I guess it is spoiled. Maybe it did. I don't
Nice.
remember. But either way.
It is a beautiful game. I played some of it too. Not all of it, but beautiful game.
I did throw Silk Song on here, which I think we all at least experienced in some form this year.
Yeah,
I think it's very
little
pretty.
bit.
I don't think it's the prettiest game I ever played, but I think it's a nice looking game. Mike, you played it probably the most of us.
I don't know. I played maybe an hour of it or something like that. I just wanted to kind of get a taste. But yeah, I thought the art style was beautiful. I thought the whole presentation was great. Art style, what little music and sound I heard. It's a very atmospheric game. I just don't think it's one especially for me.
This one is for you, Miss Ashley. I know you're getting bored over there listening to us.
I'm
Hades
not getting bored.
2. You played a lot of Hades 2, is my understanding.
I have played a good chunk of it in the last few weeks. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna take my. I was trying to go for my like developer at a conference vibe with the blazer over the t-shirt, but I'm actually sweating, so I'm gonna have to take the blazer off. Sorry. Sorry, Jeff Keighley. But yeah, I think Hades 2 looks great. I think it's a perfect shift from Hades 1 in terms of upgrading the gods' designs, like the gods you meet along the way all look fantastic. All of their character designs are great. Shout out to Aphrodite, who is wearing a nothing. But it's yeah, but it's a really, really good sort of separate vibe than the first one, and I think that it is great. The boss designs all look really interesting, and the world that they've built is really pretty as well. So I think it's a nice change of pace from the first one, and looks as great as the first one did, which is great.
Fantastic. Silent Signs, you have Tainted Grail on this list. Another game that will appear again later. Spoiler alert once again.
Yes.
This is quite the undertaking for a small team to create a game of this size and scope, and one that's so beautiful. Go ahead. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, this is a game that it's almost hard to believe it's an indie game because of just the sheer scope of it. Massive RPG, beautiful environments, dynamic environments, like, you have a day-night cycle. Everything's so beautifully detailed. The characters are really cool. And I think this is really important, if you change your character's outfit, you could actually see it on the character model. Like, if you change armor, you can see the change in armor.
That is a detail not enough video games do. And it's very important. Yeah,
very important to me. So, very much love for Tainted Grail, and I'm sure I'll talk about that again.
How about some love, though? We'll go back to you, Ashton. Blueprints, a game that some people, this is like their favorite game of the year. Some people absolutely love Blueprints. Some people really don't like it very much at all. It's a divisive release, but definitely I think we can all agree it's got a striking art style to it.
I love the sort of, it's not really cell shaded. I don't really know what to call it, like hand drawn sort of vibe that it's got. I think it's a really interesting visual for a game, and it makes complete sense in the sort of overall vibe of the game, given you're in this sort of mystical, magical, blueprinty, strange world. I think that some of the puzzles are visually so interesting and so fun to figure out that every time you figure out a puzzle you feel like a genius, and it's been right in front of you the whole time, which I think is the perfect combination of ways to build a puzzle. So I think they've hidden a really interesting story and interesting mechanics in a very pretty looking game. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Mike, did you connect with Blueprints in the same way visually?
Yeah, I thought it was a very pretty game. Every room was very, very visually distinct, and I appreciated that. They put a lot of effort into giving each room not only its own kind of design and color palette, but its own vibe. Yeah, very pretty game.
We have to shout out this next one, even though a polarizing game again here. but we all agree is very, very amazing looking. I would actually argue this might be the best looking game of the year overall. It's Routine,
Whoa.
a game that took years and years to come out, and it is drop dead gorgeous. Despite some of the flaws, some of the issues I have with this game, incredible looking, Mike. I know you've played some of it too.
Yeah, just played a couple hours last night, and I agree. It is a stunning looking game. I think maybe all the visual filters might smooth over what could be some visual flaws that might not otherwise be noticeable, but it looks crazy realistic when you're actually playing it at the highest settings.
Yeah, exploring the ship and all like the abandoned parts of it with the mall that's left behind. Really cool atmosphere in that game.
Really nice use of like.
I just wish it was like a better video game overall.
The lighting and the shadows in that one really stood out to me.
Mike, you have Total Chaos on this list, which is another late addition here, a game that just dropped out of nowhere in the last month or so, right? How did it make the visual list?
Because Total Chaos looks disgusting. Like, it looks so revolting in such an effective way. The enemies are so, like, I don't know, some of the enemies are pretty grotesque. All the environments are, like, covered in all these sort of growths and slime and blood and gore, and it feels like there is not a single area untouched by grime, and I think that is part of what makes it very Silent Hill-like to some people. I feel like some people have sort of oversold the connection between Silent Hill and Total Chaos in terms of, you know, how it plays and how it looks and feels, but the environments and the visual design are just incredible in that game. They really add so much to the disturbing atmosphere.
Now, who amongst you threw Sword of the Sea on this list? Was that anyone here?
That was me.
That was you. Okay, Sword of the Sea. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, all you have to do is watch a trailer of Sword of the Sea. It's not visually gorgeous in an especially original way. I mean, it kind of looks like Journey, if we're being honest, but it looks like Journey with probably more modern visual flair, more environmental variety. It's a stunning looking game. I would say it's more style than substance, but it's not always a bad thing.
And then last but not least for this category, once again, I got to go back to you, Mike, because you're the one that spent so much time with this title. It's Skate Story, which I agree looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And Silent Signs, if you want to just switch it up and say something about Skate Story, by all means.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. There should be more characters that are based on the concept of being a prism. You know? Like, that's great. There's really nothing else to say.
Wasn't that Pyramid Head's whole thing? You know?
It's not the same. He wasn't, like, refracting light in the same way, you know?
But go ahead and elaborate, Mike. What makes this game so beautiful? You played the most of it, so...
Yeah, it's almost weird because if you see screenshots of Skate Story, I don't think it necessarily looks that good. I don't think it looks bad, but I think it looks maybe kind of average. It's in motion. Seeing all the light reflect off of this prismic demonic being and the incredible animation of the actual tricks and the skateboarding and everything happening on the screen, so many different effects going on, and for some people it might be, you know, overload, but for me I was like, whoa. It is a game that transports you somewhere else, truly. What a cool experience from beginning to end.
I feel like that whoa factor goes so well with the music too. It's like a perfect marriage, you know.
All right,
I hope you guys get a chance to play it.
Before we move on to most innovative title, were there any shout-outs? Ashton, any shout-outs for beautiful games this year?
Yeah, okay, I just have a quick one. I forgot to put it on because I have this weird thing when it comes to like cozy games where I feel like I am quite guilty of it, so I'm like, it's cozy so it doesn't count, but it should count. I think Town to City is a fantastic looking little game. It's a voxel city builder. I'll talk more about it later, don't you worry. But all of the designs for all the buildings and the little people and the animals and the plants and everything is so beautiful and well done, and just like a really gorgeous experience that when you're getting stressed out that all of your little guys are really unhappy because you've not placed enough bakeries, it's fine because it looks beautiful. And they've just added animals, and you've just got little swans and just bobbing around in all the lakes, and it's just lovely.
Is that
I think that game is beautiful.
that came out? It was the same as the train game developer, same developer with the voxel
Station to
art?
Station.
Station to Station.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
That's a cool looking game too, though.
Yeah. Similar beautiful voxel art for a cozy
Yes,
game.
it's a similar like art style, but I don't think it's by the same people. I think Station to Station maybe had another game out this year, but I don't think it was Town City. Again, I might be lying straight to your face, so apologies about that. But
I'm trying to see.
It's a really
It
beautiful
is
little game.
the same developer. You
So,
liar!
I was
Silent
lying straight to
signs,
your
you
face,
nailed it.
okay? I'm going to get cancelled. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's a really beautiful art style, and I think I'm a big fan of all games that are like that. So
I only ask because I played the train game and I thought it was gorgeous, so I totally agree.
yeah. Plus, Town City is only in early access, so it's only going to get more gorgeous.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's move on. Did you have something there, Mike? Or are we good with visuals? Good with visuals?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I would have been one of the little people in Town to City mad that there aren't enough bakeries. That would be me. Hi. That was it.
Most innovative, Mike, we're going to kick this off with you. You tossed out Motion Wreck, which I played a little bit back at PAX East, a game where you rewind, record to solve these various platforming puzzles. I think it is a very neat concept. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, I don't think I've played a puzzle game quite like it before, where you record your movement in a particular direction. Maybe you walk to the right and then jump up a few platforms, and then you have to go somewhere else, generally in the same screen, to kind of use that same motion, along with some other little mechanics, like you might run into a little not obstacle, but a little thing that repeats the motion a few times. So there's a lot of thought that went into Motion Wreck. All the puzzles are very clever. I would say if anything prevented it from being in my top 10 for the year, it's that maybe the puzzles didn't have as much variety as some other puzzle games built on clever concepts. They might have been able to do a little bit more with it, possibly. But overall, really clever. I don't think I've seen a recording mechanic quite like that before, so definitely worth a play.
Fantastic. Well, I want to shout out Silly Polly Beast, which is not a hentai game as you thought it was. Silent
I
Signs
just
at
thought there
all.
was the possibility, that's all.
What it is a very unique survival horror meets top-down shooter meets skateboarding game meets like kind of Suda 51 fever trip. It's really all over the place, and I absolutely loved that game this year. I was this close to giving it the golden genie lamp of approval. I love games that try.
Whoa.
Now, it didn't succeed 100% in every aspect that it tried, but I love the boldness, and that's the kind of creativity we need to see in the indie gaming scene going forward, because indies can fall into this trap of just doing the same old roguelite, the same old vampires game, the same old Metroidvania. You gotta innovate, you gotta try new things, and I love that Silly Polly Beast is a game that definitely attempted some unique ideas.
It's one of those games where if somebody told you to just play it, you're better off not knowing anything about it and just booting it up and being surprised by it.
That's good to know for later when I talk about it more, so I'll try not to spoil too much for people. Ashton, we're going to shoot it over to you. We're going to talk about Blueprints again, and it's many innovations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a bit like you were saying, does roguelike, but with something else going on, I think is what Blueprints does really well. And like Mike was saying, every room's so different. The puzzles are really clever, what they get you to do and what they sort of encourage you to do with making physical notes and taking things down and really thinking about everything you're seeing. Is just such a fantastic puzzle game. I know not everyone got on with it. I got to the end room and stopped playing, but there is more content to get into. I feel like it's a game designed for people with ADHD, and I can't explain this other than you get me to start making notes and solving puzzles, and I'm going to fill up 2 notepads full of notes. My friend who has ADHD was like, I'm not playing anything else, I have to solve the puzzles. And so I can only assume that if you've got ADHD, you're going to love this game. But yeah, I think it just is something really interesting with the puzzle genre and the roguelike genre. And that's all we can really ask in this day and age, is to mix up the roguelike genre, because everyone's making a gosh darn roguelike. So...
Now, am I mistaken, or do I recall you quite literally saying you had to cut yourself off from playing that game because you were committing so many hours to it? That was you, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had to sort of like, get I was like, right, I've done it now. I need to stop playing, because if I don't stop playing now, I fear that I'm not going to get anything done. I think for like a week solid, every spare moment of my day, even moments that weren't necessarily spare, were being spent playing Blueprints. So I really enjoyed myself with that game.
Over to you, Barely Magic Mike. Consume Me is a game that I know you absolutely consumed the hell out of this year. You talked very highly of this game. What did it do to innovate?
Yeah, I put a lot of games on this list. Consume Me. I've definitely never played anything like Consume Me. I think I've played that said that a couple times already, and I've said that many times this year. But Consume Me is a very narrative-focused game that takes place in these panels that just constantly swipe left to right, right to left, and put the main character, Jenny, in different scenes, whether it's just quickly getting out of bed in like a split-second scene, and then like having breakfast in another split-second scene, and brushing her teeth in another split-second scene. And a lot of these scenes have like a very simple mechanic. It might just be pressing up on the thumbstick, or it might be a mini game like filling up her plate with Tetris pieces to make sure she's not consuming too many calories, but that all the hunger spots are covered so that she's properly full. I think the game just, if you look at any little mini game in it in isolation, it's interesting, but maybe not the most innovative thing in the world. It's how it all comes together, how they all feed into one another and become just like so much greater than a sum of its parts. It's just a very clever game in how it makes its narrative. Every little moment is a part of its narrative. I thought it was a new way to tell a story in gaming that I hope more developers kind of look up to.
Well, I hate to put you on the bubble, but you put 3 more games on this list, so you're going to have to keep talking for a bit here. But
I know.
Drop Duchy is the next game you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, Drop Duchy was so cool. I've never seen Tetris reimagined as a strategic roguelike, but having to think about, oh, I want to drop this block in a particular spot, not because it completes the line, but because it's a river block, and I want to connect it to another river block so I can send artillery down the river to my other, settlement, whatever they called it in the game. I don't really remember, but playing Tetris while playing a strategy game at the same time was something that was not obvious to me in terms of a genre mashup, and Drop Duchy did a great job.
Fantastic. And I know in recent times you've been playing this one, the Seance of Blake Manor? Do I have that right?
Seance of Blake Manor.
Seance of Blake Manor.
Seance of Blake Manor. I will just say real quick, what's so cool about this game is that it's really hard to put together a detective game where you can keep all these different threads straight when you have so many different characters and they all have their own stories and they all have pieces of evidence to examine and everything. A lot of games just kind of create an inventory dump of, oh, there's all this different stuff, and it may not necessarily be so well organized. The Seance of Blake Manor had this mind map feature where every single mystery in the game is connected to every other mystery, and then you click on a mystery, and then there's just a sub-layer where it's every character, every piece of evidence, every connection, every verified connection, every unverified connection, every proven false connection. It's one of those games where even if you don't have the time to binge it all in a week or two, you could come back months later and easily catch up on what was going on, because every little piece of information is so brilliantly spelled out. I just thought that was really cool.
And last but not least, for this category, you have Goodnight Universe on the list.
Yeah. Goodnight Universe is kind of an obvious one. It's from the developers of Before Your Eyes, that also use this sort of blinking feature where your webcam can recognize your blinks. Goodnight Universe took it a little bit further, where it recognizes not only your blinks, but it recognizes when you smile and when you frown. And it also sometimes has you sort of read the minds of certain characters by closing your eyes and then like turning your head to like almost like tuning to a radio station. So like you close your eyes and you just hear static and you like turn a little to the left, a little to the right until you find like the perfect spot to hear the characters talking. It was just so cool. I've never seen a game do that before.
I would be so
Really
bad at that
interesting.
because I tend to make faces when I'm playing games. Like I can't control myself. My face just contorts and does its own thing. So if I'm like grossed out by something, I'm going to be making a weird face and I'm probably going to make something happen.
I know in our early days of YouTubing, when I would make some sort of comment that maybe rubbed you the wrong way or you just had a certain reaction, your face showed it all. And
Yeah.
people always like that about you. So.
Yeah.
You got one of those happy faces.
I'm very much the same. I'm like,
Makes for a good thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Are there any other innovative titles you'd like to shout out this year, Silent Signs, or shall we move on to the best narrative?
You know, I think we should keep this moving.
All right, let's keep the train rolling.
Yeah.
Best narrative. It is starting with a brawler, of all things. To have a good narrative, this is Heresy. How did this happen? Absalom is first on the list. And it does tell a pretty damn good story, I'd have to say. Fantasy story, it's a little bit more in-depth than your usual brawler, though. Did you enjoy the tale of Absalom as well, as much as I did?
I loved everything about this game. I was surprised how much I liked it because I didn't expect much. I'm not a big fan of like roguelikes usually. I always feel like I say the wrong thing. Is it a roguelike or a roguelite?
Who cares anymore? It's,
All right.
It's a rogue.
It's rogue.
They're mostly roguelites.
I feel like you're always dancing
Nobody
on
knows.
that line of like, is this going to be impossible?
You'll get that one elitist nerd in the comments that will definitely try to correct you, but that's fine.
You know what? Correct me. I don't care. I say a lot of things wrong. I'm a human being. But I think that game is really unique because it does so many things well, and one of those things is the story.
Yeah, just the idea of a brawler having a story worth giving a damn about is kind of crazy.
You also have like so many different unique characters that come from so many different backgrounds that you can play as, which is really cool.
I agree. Absalom is another game that
I
you'll
slept
hear.
on that one.
So, yeah, you definitely
I
need
have
to play that
that.
game. Absolutely.
I
Try
really
it.
do.
Play with
It
us.
is fantastic. Mike, I know you just talked about it, but you also put Consume Me on this category as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really engaging story. I've never had a game tell a story about kind of body dysmorphia and
Was this about eating disorder?
dieting.
Or was it something along those lines, right?
Yeah, right. It kind of made an obsession with dieting a narrative device. And I think what made the narrative so great is that you had certain blocks of time to do different things every day, and you couldn't do everything that you wanted to do. And sometimes dieting, which the main character was kind of obsessed with, would be directly in contrast to, oh, well, your boyfriend wants to go out for pizza, so are you going to spend all your time exercising instead of to offset the pizza instead of like making money to do chores and or doing chores to make money, you know, that kind of thing. It made you really kind of immersed in her dilemma and feel like she would feel in that moment where she's like trying to prioritize things but also really obsessed with her body image in a way that was totally counterproductive. So I would say late in the game in Consume Me, it did have some religious elements that I felt like were tacked on at best, like not really done so well, but most of the game had a pretty incredible story to follow. Very relatable.
Well, I want to shout out Artist Impact Silent Signs, which is actually one of my favorite games of the year. Again, spoiler. I'm going to spoil my whole list
I
here
almost
if
put
keep
that
it
one
up.
on my list,
But
too.
this is such a beautiful story. I know it kind of stumbles in the later act. A lot of people were upset about that, but it doesn't take away from just some of the amazing writing of this game. I love your little robot companion and the banter between the two characters. There's like a cozy vibe to the game, too. It feels good, but it's also very serious at times, very dark, and it touches on some real themes, kind of like you were talking about earlier, Nier Automata, how it kind of ask these questions about life and the greater meaning of it all. I thought Artist Impact was a game that did a fantastic job. I think I even titled the review Impactful or something like that. I thought it was clever.
It was also really funny. I feel like
Yeah, it had a
that's-
good sense of humor.
it had a
as
really
well.
good sense of humor, and I feel like that's not always easily accomplished in a game that's also trying to be taken seriously.
Agreed. Fantastic game. I will talk about it more later, just like you're going to talk once again about Look Outside's story, which is insane.
Hey, this game is cool. I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't played it yet, but
you are kind of sort of trapped in a complex.
Remember how we all felt during COVID-19?
Yes. Hard to forget, really.
Where you just felt very trapped in whatever space you were kind of holed up in.
That's when I started this channel, so I tried to be productive. Like
yeah,
a lot of us
you know,
did.
you did what you could with whatever was around you, and you kind of made the best of it.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, you maybe got to know some rooms of your house that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten to know as well.
The bathroom in particular for me, but yes.
Look Outside feels like that, but so much more clever than that, obviously, because, you know, it's fantasy. They could take creative liberties. I love how every character in that game has a story. And you'll meet them, and their story will develop the more times you meet them.
And I just love that you could kind of do your own thing, too. You don't necessarily have to complete certain tasks. You're just dropped in this place, and it's like, well, what do I do now? I could sit on the couch and play video games the whole time and let life pass me by, or I could go out there and explore this weird place.
But it's another one that will keep you on the edge of your seat with, like, anxiety, but at the same time, it'll make you laugh because it has a really good sense
Yeah, it really
of
does
humor.
balance those things very well.
Very well balanced.
I would agree. What's next here? We have the seance of Blake Manor, Mike.
Again, yes, and I'm just going to comment that right now is when my dogs were like, oh, we are immediately going to chew our hardest, loudest toys in the background. So if you hear some crunching, that is them, obviously not me. Okay, Seance of Blake Manor. Plenty more opportunities to talk about it, but the story wrapped up really well, and I appreciate that every sort of side task is its own mini story with each character. Each character isn't just there to feed into the whole mystery of what's going on with the seance. They're also there to solve kind of their own problems. You can help them out, and they have their own character arcs, which is really cool, even though they're optional. So great game, and I guess I should talk about Goodnight Universe too.
That would be next, yes.
Which
While
is
you're here.
also on the list. Goodnight Universe is a really impressive story. I mean, it kind of has to be because it's mostly story. It's kind of a walking sim, blinking sim, I guess you could say. Not a whole lot of puzzle content going on, but really excellent voice acting, great writing. I was really drawn in to the whole thing, and it's a unique story. You play as a psychic baby. I don't know what to say other than that.
Now, I think this was you, Ashton. Are you the and Roger? This was not you.
It wasn't me.
This was not you.
It wasn't me.
No, that
That's
was
another-
me too.
It wasn't you either?
That was me too.
Oh, it was you. I could have sworn
was
that was
me.
that was Ashton, but okay.
It was me. Sorry, I added so many games. I'm going to be really quick with End Roger because when it comes down to it, you cannot spoil what End Roger is about. I'll just tell people it's a game that'll take you an hour maximum to complete. It's very cheap, and once you realize what it's about, it will likely impact you whether you've dealt with the particular subject matter in your personal life before or not. Just play it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, it is time for the next category, which is the weirdest games. I've been excited about this one. Who doesn't love a good weird game?
I feel like I have played so many weird games this year. I feel like on the list of ones where I'm like, yeah, I was looking back at all the games I've played in the channel. I was like, so many of these games are so weird. And I love that. I love a weird game. But I was like, God, I get so many weird ones.
Well, you're going to have to shout them out later. But before that,
Well, yeah.
Maroi is first on this list, Silent Signs. A game that we did not have a good time.
Oh, yeah,
at
that
all.
game. You know, I was looking back on games that I played this year, and I was like, this game deserves a shout out of something. And I think you nailed it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
It's
would
not a
be
good
the thing
game,
that it would
mind
get a
you,
shout out for.
But it is a very strange game. What would you kind of describe like the art style and the vibe of this game as? Almost like avant-garde, horror?
You know, for once, I'm at a loss for words. I feel like all I need to tell you is that there's a duck with teeth.
There is very much a duck with teeth. Yes. A lot of gore.
A lot
A
of
lot of
gore.
strange imagery.
Yeah.
And a lot of it doesn't make sense.
You lose your limbs a lot.
You do.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Ashton, you were losing some limbs earlier when you played, weren't you? That's probably a weird game on this list too.
Yeah, it's weird in a bad way where like don't even look it up. Don't even look it up. I played it for like an hour and I was like, the people who want to play this game should be on a watch list. That's the kind of weird game.
Now that we've mentioned it, everyone's going to go look it up too. That's the worst part about it.
We could censor it. We could just bleep it out.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. No one will have any idea what game we're talking about. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Shotgun Cop Man is on this list.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Barely Magic Mike, you reviewed this one.
I did review this one. I don't think I added it to the list, but in retrospect, I think it reasonably belongs on there. Shotgun Cop Man is a title for a game, I guess, where you chase the devil and you platform and shoot, and the devil just flips you off all the time, and that's pretty much the story. And the animation and the way his Shotgun Cop Man's head just looks kind of like a thumb, and I don't know. There are a lot of decisions made in the development of Shotgun Cop Man where you're like, I'm okay with this, but also why? I don't understand. But
because why
that's
not?
Fine. We don't always have to understand. Yeah.
All right, guess the next game on the list. I'm gonna give you a visual hint here.
It's to a T.
Oh!
To a T! You got it.
I was very concerned.
Ashton, go ahead and tell us about it.
To a T is a crazy game. So it's made by the same guy who made the Katamari game, and you essentially play a child whose top half is stuck like this. You're stuck in a T-pose, and you're sort of just trying to get around with your daily life. You've got a little dog companion that helps you get dressed, and it's just very strange. Like, within the first 10 minutes, you've had to get dressed, and then you go to the toilet, and you can basically keep pressing buttons to make your character have a poo, and it goes on for ages. And you can like brush your teeth every day and have cereal and wash your face. And if you don't wash your face and brush your teeth, you have like little eye boogies in for the rest of your day. And there's various like weird things that go on. So the main character essentially learns that if they spin fast enough, they can essentially take off and fly. And there's some kind of weird ecological disaster happening, and the only person that seems to be able to save the day is this child who's stuck in a T-pose. Nobody knows why they're stuck in the shape of a T. In fact, that is one of the lyrics in the song. And yeah, it's all very strange. I never finished it because other things came along, but it is just an absolutely insane game. Like, I don't know how they came up with that, you know?
Yeah, it is from the creators of Katamari Damacy, so.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. They have a real niche, and it's being fucking weird. So. I go to my tiny garden. I really
Sticking with you, Ashton, you also played Baby Steps this year, which I thought was very weird just based on the trailers alone. I did not play this game, but it seemed like frustrating, but oh so weird.
Yeah, I've seen people do some crazy things in Baby Steps and like take like tens of hours trying to, if not hundreds of hours, trying to complete certain little activities. But you are essentially a giant man baby who's appeared in this sort of mystical land wilderness, and there's like a bunch of Kiwi men around who are sort of offering you very unhelpful information. At one point you see a donkey's full penis. He's just sat, is a donkey man, and he's just sat with his legs open, and there's just a donkey cock straight.
Let me get that on my wish list.
So, yeah. But it's like very much just strange it's very funny. When you get to the cutscenes, it's very funny, but God, is it frustrating if you suddenly start slipping down a muddy ramp and you can't do anything but flounder, and then you're at the bottom of the pit again. But it's difficult, but it is also very funny and very strange. I also hate that if he falls down the mud, his little onesie gets like covered in mud, and it's just gross until you fall in a river and then you get cleaned off again. But it's very strange, but good fun.
A game that we've mentioned many times, but also made the weird list, is Look Outside once again.
Hey.
It's not science. What did you think was weird about it?
Oh, just about everything. The entire premise is pretty weird, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, yeah.
All of the enemies, or not even enemies, I guess, NPCs, very weird. The pixel art, the way that everything kind of distorts.
The dialogue.
The dialogue, I suppose, yeah. It's a weird game, but in a good way for once. I feel like we've talked about a lot of games that are weird and maybe not the best way, but this one is weird in a good way.
Looking at a smaller indie next that we haven't talked about yet. This one goes back to you, Ashton. It is Henry Halfhead. I don't even know what that title means, so go ahead and describe this game.
Henry Halfhead is a boy who is just the top of a head.
I love how
He's
literal
just-
all your games are. And like to
Yeah.
a T, it's just T-pose.
Yeah.
Are
He
they?
literally
Yeah.
has half a head. The game is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
So.
Henry Halfhead just has like here up. It's just a little guy, and actually, it's a really good game. I think it's a lot of the narrative is about kids who grow up not really fitting in, but have to make a real big effort to conform to what they must do. It's actually got quite an interesting narrative, but I think it's like the narrative sort of hidden behind the weird guy, the weird little Henry Halfhead. But yeah, it talks all about kids that are sort of conforming to what they should do and getting jobs that they don't really enjoy, and then later in life finding things that make them happy and finding sort of their joy again and being creative and going back to what it was like when they were a kid. And the whole thing is told in a sort of liminal space where things pop up and appear within this void. And Henry also has the ability to turn in or inhabit inanimate objects. So you can become a paper airplane and fly around, you can roll around as an apple, you can write on the chalkboard, you can draw. Basically everything you have to do in the game you have to do by inhabiting items. And I think it's a really interesting little game, but it is inherently weird because you are just playing the top half of a head. But it is a good one, and it's not very long. I think it's like 3 hours long, so I would recommend, if you've got a spare few hours, checking out Henry Halfhead, because it is weird, but it's deceptively quite sweet. So it's not on the list, but I do feel like I should say Date Everything is also a very weird game, and I think it gets away with being a weird game because everyone in it is hot and all the voice actors are really talented. But it is also a very weird game because you can date your sex toy and have sex with your rubber duck, and I think that is weird. So I just thought that was worth mentioning. That's also weird game.
I was going to say, I thought I put that down on the list because that was definitely a very strange game.
Turns out, the hotter you are, the more weird things you can get away with.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, so yeah.
It's true.
That's why I
think
never get
so.
away with anything. So.
That's why Jeff Goldblum is allowed to be so weird, because he's like, all the mamas find him hot. So it's like, you know,
Is that a
he
thing?
can be a little freak.
I didn't know that there was actually...
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
either.
Interesting.
I think
It's a thing,
he's-
for sure.
I mean, we saw him in Jurassic Park. He looked pretty... Oh, not Jurassic Park. One of the ones who was younger and ripped. And he was like, yeah, that's Jeff Goldblum being a bit weird. So, yeah, that's the rule.
Here's a weird one. I just saw like Mike's short of this game, and I was certainly weirded out. This is Tingus Goose you've included.
Tingus Goose. I mean, was there honestly a weirder game this year than Tingus Goose?
Not from what I've
I don't
seen.
know.
Like, you just you play as, I don't know, if you play as this goose, you just like birth things. It keeps birthing things. Your goose has a really long neck, and you get these blossoms, and you shoot, and babies come out of its beak, and then
Mike, you sound
its
unwell.
blossoms consume the baby. I am
having a
unwell. Do I have a fever? Tingus Goose is a game I recommend to people, and also don't recommend to people. If you can handle how weird it is, then it is so enjoyably strange, but it's just, you just have to see it to believe it. I don't know. It literally makes me speechless.
You can't explain it. Every time I see a clip of it, I'm like, huh? When they were trying to pitch
Yeah.
it to me over email to be like, hey, play our game on stream, I was like, what is this? I can't figure it out.
Yeah. Very hard to figure out.
Last for weirdness, though I'm sure there were many more that we didn't even probably get to at some point, but Mike, you included Skate Story.
Yes, and I don't know why my screen just got so bright.
Did an angel just enter
For a
your
second.
room or something? It looks.
That was Mike's soul leaving his body after talking about Tingus Goose.
Yeah, clearly.
The goose has come
Wait.
to get him.
His goose is cooked.
Okay.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
good.
what else did I put on this list? I put on Skate Story. Yeah, I mean, you play as a demon made of glass and pain who wants to eat the moon. The story's really strange, and only kind of half succeeds in being strange enough to be worth sitting through. But it's weird. It's certainly weird. Deserves that distinction for sure.
Well, that was a lot of weird silent signs, so let's
Sure was.
get some normalcy back in the room now for the best solo dev release. I don't know who wrote all of these, to be honest. I don't think I wrote a lot of them, but I'm going to list them off, and if any of you have a reaction, how's that work for you? You can react to that game.
Great.
We have Schedule 1 on this list. Anybody play Schedule 1? Shout out to Schedule 1. That was probably Ophidian Mine then. Nubby's Number Factory, or it was Quinn maybe too.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. No Nubby's Number
maybe.
Factory?
I did play that one. It was pretty good. I didn't totally get it, but I didn't really play long enough to get it because I was kind of rogueliked out for the year by that point. But pretty cool game. Definitely a unique roguelike. It's different.
We've got Look Outside again, of course. It's a name we've heard a
Incredible.
lot today. Tall Trails as well.
I love Tall Trails so much. I love that game so much. It's got the humor of like Frog Detective, I would say. It's a very funny game. And you're just like this little guy, this little golem who wants to find his purpose, and he does so by taking this boot that's strapped to his back and launching things out of it so that he can jump and fly around and collect these little things. I forget what exactly he's collecting, but it's a collectathon. It's a funny, charming, simple collectathon, and you can just tell it's made with so much strange love. I've really enjoyed it a lot.
And once again, Skate Story, solo developed, very impressive.
Insane.
Yeah, Sameng, I believe his name was. Incredible work there. We've talked a lot about Skate Story though, but some more recognition for that game. Let's go. This is a little category I made up, Signs. I'm very proud of it. Best remaster of a game. And the first on that list, I thought they did a lovely job with this old game that you grew up with on the PS1.
Krog!
I'm aging you a little bit. You're a PS1 gal.
Yeah,
But it was Croc, of course. And I thought they did a fantastic job with this remaster. How did you enjoy it?
I thought it was wonderful. I enjoyed playing it now more than I enjoyed playing it way back when.
Well, it feels better to play now.
Because it feels very modern, but not so like changed that it doesn't feel like the same game.
Right, like improved frame rate. They made the controls more modernized, so it's not like those old
Graphics
tank
are
controls.
nice.
Graphics are nice and smoothed out.
And I think perhaps most importantly, there is a lot of footage of the development process or interviews with the developers and the creators of the game.
And it has a really insane history
Which
to it, too. The
is-
feud with Nintendo and all this
Yeah,
cool stuff.
it's worth the purchase and the watch more than anything else, I would say. It's really interesting.
I also want to shout out the Gex trilogy, which maybe wasn't as in-depth as Croc was. They didn't exactly remaster the games in the same way, but I thought they did a nice job paying homage to Gex and having some interviews again with people that actually worked on the game or involved. They have the voice of Gex on there. It's great to see some of these old games come back and be actually respected rather than just shat out for profit, if you know. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
I thought they did a pretty nice job with that one as well. Now, here's a weird one that you reviewed. I believe it's a Golden Genie Lamp winner, too. Off.
Yes. I debated back and forth about shouting this out in a bunch of different categories, but I always have a hard time with games that are not like a brand new release. You know, it's something that's already exists for people to consume. But if you've never played this game, it's basically the inspiration for a lot of weird RPGs that came after it.
Undertale.
So, you know, your Undertales of the world and anything similar to that was definitely inspired by this game Off, where you just play as a character named the Batter, and you purify various zones from spirits. Maybe that's what you're doing. Maybe not. You
Also,
can play it
I
and
have
find
to say,
out.
one of the coolest endings without spoiling.
A very strange ending. This version of the game adds a new soundtrack, which was done by none other than Toby Fox, amongst others, I believe. It also adds some new bosses.
Oh,
for
that
you to
battle
fight.
theme is to die for, I must say.
Very,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah.
Great game. Great game. Mike, I think you spent some time with this one. I think they did a fantastic job, surprisingly so, because when you previewed this game, it wasn't looking so good, but the final release comes out, and it's Yuka Replayly, and I think they did a bang-up job, finally giving us the game that we all wanted back when it originally released.
Yeah, I was shocked that... So I played Yuka Replayly at Summer Games Fest, and it ran like crap. Why would you show off a game that's running at like 20 frames per second? I have no idea, but the final
Because
release...
you paid Jeff Keighley £1 billion to be there, and you have to bring your game.
Yeah. Seriously, but it gave me such a negative impression. I was like, oh my god, did the engine upgrade just ruin Ukulele? But no, the final product runs great. It feels great to play. They give you all your abilities at once now, so there are a couple balancing things that get kind of weird. But overall, I enjoyed it so much more than I enjoyed the original release. They really did a bang-up job of updating that one.
So there's a lot of talk out there, Silent Signs, about games being remade, milking these old franchises, re-releasing stuff, selling you the same go. But I thought this category was important because sometimes it's not just about the cash grab. So,
I mean,
respect.
granted, you get plenty of those too.
Of course, you do. But I want to honor the ones that were not cash grabs.
Agreed.
Do it the right way, that kind of thing. But it's time for maybe the most exciting part of this whole show. I shouldn't say that because there's still more show after this. But the biggest hot mess is of the year. And there were 3 that came to mind for me in the industry. We're speaking more on the industry as a whole.
Oh, not ourselves.
No,
I was gonna
no.
say.
Joe, can I talk about...
Guilty.
Can I talk about one more remaster real quick?
I suppose I will allow that.
Just wanted to shout out Simogo Legacy Collection because a lot of people might not even know it existed. The developers of Sayonara Wild Hearts and what was that game you played last year? You loved it so much. Why is it not coming to mind?
I'm on the spot. I won't be able to
Simogo's
get it.
game.
That is a lot of pressure to be
Yeah.
like, what's that game you like?
I know.
What was that one game you played last year? You know, that one game.
Like over a year since last year.
Do you know how many games have
It has
come
been
through my
over a
brain
year
since
since
that
last year. Wait. Oh, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Oh.
Yeah, fantastic game.
I love that game.
Okay, so so the developers of Sayonara Wild Hearts and Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, quite some titles. They released a bunch of mobile games before they released those games, and they've released those games into an amazing collection on Steam. It can all be played on the touch screen on the Steam Deck. They have like extra side stories and like ebooks that like expand on the lore of some of the games. You can play prototypes of some of their games in there. It's a really, really cool collection. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Appreciate it. All right. Hot mess time, though, Silent Signs.
Hooray.
And we got to start
Yes,
with
hot mess time.
It's bitchin'
Nintendo,
time,
of
baby.
course. So Nintendo, in my opinion, while they sold a lot of consoles, and the Switch 2 by all means seems to be a success hardware-wise so far, was certainly a hot mess with their game pricing. People were very upset about the price of the console, the price of the games more so than that, I think, with $80 Mario Kart, and potentially resetting the market with $80 games in the future, and then these terrible game key cards that came around, which isn't actually the game on the card at all. So
So just Nintendo as a whole.
I think so. I think they were just generally
Nintendo's whole
a hot
vibe.
mess this year. Ashley,
whole
I'll go to
thing.
you.
Yeah.
You haven't talked much, so.
Well, my main gripe with Nintendo this year was the Mario Party Switch 2 upgrade, because I'm a Mario Party stan, and the Switch 2 upgrade was a pile of wank. It was terrible. Didn't add really anything. The mini games were sort of uninteresting. The best thing about it was adding the camera mechanic, but that's just been plugging a webcam into my Switch. That's not anything that interesting. Also, another thing of beef I have with Nintendo, charging for the tech demo.
That was
The Nintendo Switch 2
Oh, yeah.
tech demo.
that was a new low.
Which
So stupid.
my fiance bought, and I don't know why.
Oh my
and
God.
played it. And the best game on it was one where you had to look at the camera, which again can just be any USB webcam, and make a face, and it would recognize your face. And that was the best game on it. That was it.
Wow.
The rest of them were fine.
Yikes.
But
So not only are you paying
charging
for it,
the
they're
tech
stealing your
demo-
face data too while you play the game. That's fantastic.
Exactly. But yeah, love Nintendo.
Great year. Great year. Good stuff.
Nintendo.
Good stuff. Mike, your thoughts on Nintendo this year? Is it as bad as people say, or are we just being hard on them?
I just think it's like, sorry, Mike, you go.
It might be worse. It might be worse. I think that Nintendo's lost their minds. I'm curious how it will serve them in the years to come, because their people are noticing the greed for sure.
I also went to the Nintendo Museum in Kyoto in Japan this year, and it was kind of wank. So
I also want to shout
also
out, just to pile it on Nintendo here, the lack of indie support so far on the Switch 2 compared to the Switch 1, where they were all about the indies, and now the indie developers aren't even able to get the dev kits to make the games on the Switch 2, which people are buying. They could potentially have a big-time software problem here in the future when devs can't even make games for their console. I'm sure they'll probably figure this out, but not a good look for a company that really supported indie developers well with the Switch 1, I thought.
So I know this isn't what this show is all about, obviously, but I will say I think it was just a case of they wanted to see how far they could push it, and how far their fans, when they said jump, they would say how high, and I think they found how far.
They're paying it. I mean, people are buying the console. People are paying the $80 for the game. So, unfortunately, they're being proven right that they can get away with it, because that brand is powerful.
But they've upset a lot of folks in the process.
They have.
That leaves an impact, an impression.
It's going to be interesting how the Switch 2 does in 2026. I know we're getting that big surge of Nintendo fans initially that are buying the console. Can it maintain such a momentum, you think? I'll go to you, Ashton.
I don't know. I feel like the Switch is sort of a sneaky bugger, because it really, you're like, who's playing the Switch? And then you look at it and sales numbers are absolutely incredible, because people who are playing the Switch is like your niece and nephew are playing on the Switch, and a lot of people, I'm not saying it's just the kids, but the Switch is an accessible console for kids, and maybe not the Switch 2. I think obviously we're going to see a boom this year, and obviously on release it's very interesting and people are getting it, but I don't know if they necessarily have the games at this point. If it wasn't for my fiance, I wouldn't have bought a Switch 2. He just really wanted it because he loves the handheld, so he got it. But I don't think I would have bought it, because I don't think there's enough games for it at this point. Which I feel the same way about PlayStation, and that there's nothing really coming out for the PlayStation 5. So when they announced the PlayStation 5 Pro, I was sort of like, why would you get that? Because there's no games for it.
And nobody did either. So, yeah.
Nobody did, exactly. Yeah, but I think I don't know, I think the Switch will continue to do well, and we'll continue to see Nintendo sell lots of Switches and make lots of money from it. But whether they're going to they never make a big splash sort of game culturally, so I don't know if we'll continue to see them make bigger and better games. We're still waiting on a sort of big Mario game for the Switch 2, which we've not had yet, so I think we'll see. But I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
I think Ashton brings up a good point there, because I saw a little bit of weakness in their first party for the first time in quite a long time with Nintendo, where they're so known for making these elite first party games. Everyone praises them, 9s, 10s, even though I don't necessarily agree they're all 10s, but the media definitely gives them those scores. But we're starting to see some weakness in them with games like the new Metroid Prime, and people are not maybe being as forgiving to these Nintendo games like they used to be. And their whole first-party lineup so far on Switch 2, I don't know if you agree, Mike, but it hasn't been fantastic in my view.
Yeah, I mean, I've always talked about how I feel like critics give Nintendo, if we're talking points out of 100, a 5 to 10 point bump in reviews a lot of the times, at least as far as my opinion's concerned. I thought Donkey Kong Bonanza was pretty fun, but it felt mostly just like smashing things, and I don't see how it was one of the games of the year. That totally goes over my head, apparently. But I kind of get that more and more with Nintendo, and I think I've heard a lot of people who love the Metroid Prime series especially, and they see the fourth one, and you have this annoying companion, and that sort of sense of loneliness isn't really there anymore.
And the paying for music, that's another shithead move. We should pile that onto Nintendo as well.
Okay, there's got to be another hot mess this year. Let's not harp on
there's
Nintendo
lots to pile.
Yeah, let's buy an amiibo to unlock the music to this video game. That's great. Yeah, let's go to Xbox, though. Let's shit on Xbox for a while, because they didn't have a great year either. Their console is obviously not in the best of shape. Their console market, who knows where they're going to be in the future, but the Game Pass hike particularly rubbed people the wrong way. Silent Signs. What do you think Xbox is these days, as far as, is it a competitor? Is it viable? Do you still have faith in Game Pass too?
That's a tough question. I think there's always going to be space for something like Game Pass. As far as Xbox as a whole, though, it's in the same boat as every other console. Didn't they all individually take price hikes for their consoles that
Yes.
were already out?
Xbox could potentially see a third one here.
It's not even just an Xbox problem. PlayStation's went up this year too, right?
Of course, they all did. Yeah, even the original Switch
They
went up.
replaced it with the PlayStation Pro, so they got rid of all of their original standard PlayStation 5s. You couldn't get them anymore, and then replaced it with PlayStation 5 Pro, so they could charge more money for it. So.
Right.
How crazy is this? It's more expensive to buy an original Switch today than it was when it launched. Now make sense of that.
I don't like that. I don't like
Yes,
that.
I believe so. I believe it went up.
So I think they're all kind of in the same boat, and they're all just seeing, once again, it's like, how far can we push it, right? Like, well, they got away with that, so let's see if we can do that. And like, oh, obviously we have to go up too, because it's a competition, right? Like, we gotta keep up with the Joneses.
I think the problem there is, though, that Xbox isn't doing well versus, like, as far as their console selling. Whereas PlayStation is still moving units. Nintendo's
Well-
moving units just fine.
With an Xbox, a lot of those games you can play elsewhere.
On PC, too, with Game Pass.
Nintendo games you can't really play
Microsoft just has no
elsewhere.
leverage.
Yeah.
They think they can act like PlayStation and Nintendo
But they
while
can't.
also they want to like have their cake and eat it too by like selling their games on all these other platforms. But like,
to be
why
fair,
would you buy an Xbox? Why would you
To
buy
be
an
fair
Xbox?
to Xbox, they're definitely moving away from the console, and they have been doing for a while. They've been talking a lot about this is an Xbox and this is an Xbox, and sort of basically being like, buy Game Pass, you can play games on anything you own, your phone, your PC. You haven't got to have our console if you don't want it, because it's playable on everything. So I think they've given up, I think, in matching the console market sort of numbers, and are moving more towards being the sort of Netflix of gaming, which is fine. And I have to be honest, I paid for Xbox Game Pass for about 4 years, and I used it a lot. But I've recently, upon the price hike, I stopped paying for Xbox Game Pass because I just couldn't really afford it anymore. But I have used Xbox Game Pass a lot, and I have played a lot of interesting games on there. They support a lot of indie games as well. Sort of the slightly bigger indies pop up on Xbox Game Pass a lot, and it gives people the platform to play them for free. I still don't understand, and I didn't ever understand how it was profitable for them to do that, but they have a lot of games on there, and I do rate Xbox Game Pass prior to its price hike, and now it's too expensive, and I don't know how they're going to keep getting away with it. So
Just going down a little further, Ashton, do you think this next console cycle that comes, do we see a new Xbox?
I don't think so. I think we'll see like a console in its vaguest sense. I think they wanted to do what the Steam machine is going to do next year. I think that's what they were sort of leaning towards, was a cloud gaming device that's compact enough to be taken around with you, but still runs a lot of their hardware software. But I think that maybe the Steam machine might have beat them to it, so we'll have to see how they react to that, because I think they were looking at maybe doing a handheld and maybe doing a more sort of portable gaming, but they have to obviously tackle, there's so many portable gaming consoles out there. But I wonder if we'll see from them very soon what they are doing next, because they're like keep saying the next thing we're going to make is unlike anything you've ever seen before, so we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Yeah. And that's every console
I feel like
launch
the
ever,
Steam
too.
machine came at the. I feel like the Steam machine came at the perfect time to eat Microsoft's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Will it? I don't know, because Valve doesn't really advertise, and I feel like that would prevent that from happening. But we'll see. In theory, I don't see why you would buy an Xbox over a Steam machine.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to be a very slippery slope. It's going to be interesting, and I think Ashley made a lot of good points there about how they're definitely embracing more the digital market, the subscription-based service, going that Netflix route, trying to have everything in a catalog. You know, if this purchase with Netflix goes through, that's a whole other story, but they won't care if movie theaters die, because they can just have this giant streaming conglomerate, basically. And I think Xbox kind of feels similar to that. Where they're just trying to focus less on the consoles and more on getting the games out there digitally and the subscription models. But we'll see how it all plays out. The last hot mess, though, I want to talk about for this year that really stood out to me is, of course, involving AI. and its impact on gaming, but it really goes beyond gaming, obviously. We're a gaming channel, so we're going to talk about the impact there. Ashton, I know you have a lot of contentious opinions about AI. How do you feel it's impacted gaming this year? Are you concerned about the future, too? I know it's impacted us all, you know, in the way we do research here at the channel. It's more difficult than ever for me to use Google when I have this AI overview and all this stuff. And
People
it's made
still
my
think
life
that we're AI.
Yes, it has made my life as a creator actively worse as it stands today. How do you feel, Ashton?
I think in terms of gaming, I think that I like the Steam are making creators clarify if they've used AI, and I appreciate that a lot of indie developers don't have the funds to necessarily, you know, do everything in every element of gaming. There's a lot that goes into game design, and I'm not even going to pretend I understand everything. But my point still stands that I don't believe there is any excuse to use AI in your game. I don't believe you. You can tell me anything and I will give you a counterpoint. Oh, I want to use AI to voice NPCs. You can get voice actors who are just starting out for free on Reddit because they will want to build up their vocal reel and will do it for you for free. If you need like art, again, if you look at the Claire Obscure route, obviously they paid, but you look at going like, hey guys, I'm just looking for somebody who might be able to do some art for this video game, like, you know, I'm starting out. There's plenty of people who are starting out in the world that just want the experience. And I do believe that you should pay people, but also I think there's conversations to be had around the world in sort of what it was to make games pre-AI, and why can't we do that now? If we were making games 15 years ago without ChatGPT and other art stealing devices, then why can't we do it now without AI? And so it makes me feel sad when I see on Steam that indie game developers have used AI to create creative things, because I think that should not have been done. But I'm struggling to live a life without AI at this point, so I'm sort of having to suck it up a little bit and pretend it's not happening.
Mike, I'm going to go to you. Do you sympathize with maybe the solo indie dev out there that's just trying to make this game on their own, trying to speed up the process, them using AI? How do you feel about that?
You know, I think Ashton did a great job of covering like some of the negative aspects of AI we see in games, and I generally agree that any artistic portion of your game really should not be done by AI. But I do think that AI is very valuable for game developers. There are certain things, like, I don't know, I can see translating your game being a very expensive thing for like a solo developer to do, and that's something that AI could do very easily and very quickly. To get your game in the hands of more people that would not otherwise be able to play it. I also think as somebody who's trying to start becoming a game developer and really struggling to find the time, I have found AI incredibly useful just for the technical part of learning an engine. Like, hey, Copilot, where in Godot can I change the transparency of an object or something, and it'll tell me exactly where to go. It'll give me like a step-by-step list, and it's verifiable because I can just go in and do it. I feel like for stuff like that, it really lowers the barrier to entry for game development. And even though when it's doing things like that, it has its issues. Like, yeah, it's giving you a step-by-step list of how to do this, that, or the other thing, but it also technically stole that from a website that, you know, should get credit in some sense. I mean, there are really tricky issues around AI, and I don't know if we're going to get all of them solved, but I think I can respect that, especially for solo game devs and small development teams, there can be some very interesting uses of it that don't end up in the final product, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Silent Signs. Now, Mike made a point there about translation, speeding up the process, and the solo developers kind of having that. I would question the quality of that translation, though, through AI, because my experience with AI is it often gets information very, very wrong. Is that a concern developers will have too, you think? The quality of the work that the AI is spitting out?
Of course. Definitely. You see it all around you now. I mean, look at the commercials that they make with AI. They're fundamentally flawed. You've got like people with 5 hands. You know, it's not good.
Will it get there though, I guess? You know, will this not be a hot mess by the end of next year, you think? Or will it be on our list again?
AI is getting better, and that's getting scarier because it's getting harder for the layperson to discern what is AI and what is not. This is great for people who are developing AI software, I guess, but not so great for the average consumer. Obviously, I'm sure there are many points where, you know, AI could be beneficial, but for every person that's using it for a beneficial purpose, there's like 500 other people that are using it for junk or a nefarious purpose, or, you know, it's a really slippery slope. And I don't know what to do with that.
Well, I thought Ashton made an amazing point earlier. We didn't need it before.
No.
Why do we need it now? We had some of the greatest games ever made in the past without it. Is the idea that we could speed things up?
The idea is to make
maybe
things...
the quality goes down? I don't know if I'm on board with that.
The idea is to make... In theory, the whole purpose of the thing is to make things easier for the humans so that they can do more things faster, right? But at what cost is the question.
Aren't we working enough? We don't need to, like, just have more churned out of us or churn out, like, I don't know. It's a hot mess, but it's on this list for a reason.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the most disappointing, keeping it kind of somber here in this section of the video here. Most disappointing indie games of the year. I'll kick it off with Gal Guardian's Servants of the Dark. Now, I love the original game, Silent Signs. You know that very much. Co-op game, we played it together, had a great time. This time, they tried to make it more of this big open Metroidvania, and I feel like it just got lost in its scale. They tried to make too big of a game, and it lost a lot of the magic of the first game. Did you play any of this one?
A little bit, yeah. I also played some of the original. Quick side point that people still go back to your video and they're like, you got the name wrong in the video.
If you don't know, infamously, the original game had to have a name change because they were sued, I believe, right?
Yeah, or something.
It was
given a cease and desist or something.
How did you say those easy words wrong? I was like, those are all words that how else would you say them?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this one definitely, it tried to expand upon the concept of the first one, but not in a way that made it better.
Yeah. Stinky game. Stinky game, as you say, Ashton, in the Zero Review Zone. Stinky game.
Stinky
game.
Another stinky game here, Mike, and I was shocked at how stinky this game was. Ruffy and the Riverside.
Oh, this one's such a shame.
It could have been stankier. It could have been... It wasn't what I'd call bad, really. It had some good ideas with its like texture swapping, and you swap a texture and then it changes the properties of the thing you swapped it with, but it was messy. It was buggy, and it was confusing, and a lot of puzzles just kind of made no sense, and there was way more puzzles than platforming. There wasn't really a whole lot of platforming. I just thought it was a bit of a... I don't know I don't remember offhand if it was the developer's first game, but it was kind of a... I hope I see something better from these clearly creative people in the future, because I just didn't like it that much.
Ashton, this one's from you. You threw the Nightling on here, which I believe you let skate by with a bronze. You were easy on it, but you had higher expectations, didn't you?
Yeah. Firstly, I want to apologize that I keep yawning. I am having a good time. It is just the middle of the night, so ignore me yawning. It's going to keep happening. Yeah, the Nightling, again, it wasn't like bad. I just thought it was sort of like fine. I think that it was a really interesting concept and a really beautiful world that it built, but I just hated the combat, and I just thought the combat was like just bland and just not very well designed and not very accessible. The rest of the game was so easy to pick up and easy to get into, and anyone could play. The combat was so hard, or not even hard, but just complicated and sort of like a bit difficult, that someone who maybe is their first 3D platformer or their first sort of similar game, I don't think they would have been able to get behind. the combat. It's like that thing where you're like, oh, could my girlfriend play this? Like, if you're a gamer and you want to get your girlfriend into a game, could my girlfriend play this? She could, until she has to get in a fight, and then you might have to take over. I play a lot of games, and I still had to get my fiance to do one of the boss fights because I could not get past it. So yeah, I just wanted it to be better than it was, and I think it's a shame that it wasn't as good.
One of the many benefits of having a partner like Silent Signs here when I'm stuck on a puzzle. Silent Signs, come solve this puzzle for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a mutually beneficial relationship.
Yeah. I had to get Ben to come, and I was like, can you just come and play this fight and just tell me if it's a me problem or it's a game problem? Because I was like, I sort of couldn't believe that I was just struggling with it so much, because I don't struggle a lot with most combats in game, but I was like, I can't do this. And then he was like, well, it's not as difficult as you're saying it is, but it's also not very good. And I was like, okay, right, that's fine. I just needed some justification that it wasn't a me problem. But yeah, the Nightling was a bit of a shame, I think.
Another disappointing title. No, I'm Not a Human. Barely Magic Mike. I'm not saying that. That's the name of the game.
It was pretty fundamentally disappointing. No, I'm Not a Human. Such great art direction, such a cool atmosphere, all squandered by a game loop that just didn't really make any sense. Like, it's sort of a Papers, Please-esque thing where people come to your door and you have to determine if they're human or if they're not, kind of part of the story. But you determine this by first letting them into your home and then letting them stay with you for a while and kind of talking to them and doing these different tests one at a time, like, are their eyes bloodshot or are their nails dirty, and you can only do that one at a time and it takes energy. I don't know, the game made no sense, and the fact that a lot of these people were kind of like randomized in terms of who was human and who was not kind of took all the air out of what could have been an interesting story, because there wasn't really any rhyme or reason to characters being human or not. It was just kind of like, oh, the game decided for my run that this person was not a human. It was lame. I thought it was cool vibes all around, but I didn't really enjoy playing it at all.
Well, a really lame game to me was Hotel Barcelona, Silent Signs.
Oh.
Which, on paper sounds great. You have Suda51, you have Swery, two of these very unique visionaries coming together to create a great project, and you get this really bland, lackluster rogue game that has this terrible combat, bad platforming, awful graphics. They get caught using AI and they didn't admit to it. Oh, that should have been on the hot shit list too, now that I think about it, but not a very good game at all. You did play some of it, right?
A little bit, yeah. I think it had some balancing issues too, like the difficulties.
Oh, yes. And glitches.
And glitches,
that,
it was just very disappointing, which I think is the perfect category for it.
But what I'm surprised to see on this list from Barely Magic Mike, because I loved the original, I adored it, Everhood, but the sequel, not so good, huh?
Yeah, I loved the original too. It's still one of my favorite indie games, but damn, the sequel just, I respect that they really tried something different. They really took a swing, and it was a miss. It was so repetitive. You had to do the same battles over and over and over. The combat wasn't as fun. The story just made no sense. It was all over the place. Wasn't really quite as funny as the first game. It was a lot longer for some reason. I don't know. There are a lot of things that didn't quite do it for me with Everhood 2. I think the core gameplay was still strong enough to make it a pretty decent game, but when you compare it to the first one, it was just a shame all around.
Now, Ashley, we got to get you to be a little meaner here, because you threw Wheel World on the list, but you gave it an okay review.
I know. I think I'm like a bit lenient when it comes to like bronzes, because I feel like in my head I'm like, it's got potential and I want to be kind. I think I'm too kind in my reviews. I think
you'll get there. You play enough of these things.
Yeah, there was one a little while ago that I said, I think, the wrong thing, and then I said I mixed two up because I hadn't decided which one. So I think I said a bronze table lamp, and then Joe was like, I'm giving it a table lamp, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, Wheel World, I think that it was just fine. It was just fine, and I think that was what's disappointing about it, was because I don't really have a lot of feelings about a cycling game, but I think it promised like a really interesting world and an interesting
I thought it was going to be great, yeah.
Yeah, like a dynamic world where people are cycling around, there's a bunch of races to do, but like that was really it. It was just like race after race after race with varying sort of different things. Most of the races were in the same area, so you're sort of going around different tracks around the same area. It just sort of felt like they didn't go far enough into either the sort of like open world aspect of it or the cycling racing game. So yeah, I probably should have been a bit meaner to it in the grand scheme of things, but it was just kind of fine. So yeah,
I vote for Angry Ashton in 2026. How about you?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, more of those broken lamps, more of those table lamps, more of those Krampuses.
Give her more time playing the games that we get in here, and eventually
I don't
we'll
think
crack
this channel
her.
has destroyed your soul yet like it has everyone else's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to
Let's
be-
do a full
okay.
review of.
No. I'll be Mean Matthews in the new year, I promise. Mean Matthews will come out.
You're gonna have to bleep it again.
Let's go to funniest game, seeing we're laughing right now. And Mike, you threw Consume Me on here again.
Yeah, Consumi was so goofy. I mean, not only art style, like there was a mini game where you have to do Jenny's makeup and it like zooms in on her face in a mirror, and there's just like, I feel like there was a bug crawling across it at one point, and she had like a unibrow, and it was like, it's just such a goofy game. It totally deserves to be on here. I've already said enough about it, but I'll say that much.
All right, everybody. I did not just run to the bathroom and shave off my beard. In fact, we actually did take a little bit of an intermission there. So welcome back, everybody. It has actually been like 3 days since we last recorded this.
It's been a whole week, actually.
For the viewers out there, it's just another minute for them.
Yeah.
It's no difference, except I look different. And
What
I think
is-
we're dressed different, though. Ashton, props for trying to dress the same. Appreciate that.
I put the same t-shirt back on. It's gone through the wash and come back out the other end, and I was like, well, it's here. I may as well.
Well, we were on the funniest
forgot.
game category. We had left off with Mike explaining Consume Me and why it was so hilarious, and now we are on Ashton's choice here, Date Everything. So go ahead, Ashton. Why is Date Everything so funny, though? I have an idea why.
Well, I just don't think... I mean, I think it's funny in its main premise of how ridiculous it is. Like, I can't think of any other situation where I would be physically attracted to, like, a dust bunny or the rubber duck or the bed that I sleep on. And I feel like it's one of those games that's funny entirely in just concept, and it does have a lot of funny sort of moments and lines, and names in particular are always sort of giggle worthy, but it is also one of those games that is so big and fleshed out that honestly, like, you kind of it takes ages to get through all of them. There's 100 dateable objects, and it takes hours upon hours to find them all. It's just layers and layers of sort of meme, and I think that it's funny, but it's also very well made, which is a very confusing combination when it comes to funny games, I feel.
Yeah, the little bit I got to see of that game had me very eager to play it. It was hilarious. Just all the different things you could fall in love with and date.
The voice acting.
Yeah, the voice acting. And
Yeah.
some really, like, hard-hitting voice actors, too, right? They
Yeah.
went for it.
Oh,
with
yeah.
that cast,
They committed.
so. Very
Well,
cool
you've got
game.
like literally like Game of the Year voice actor nominees voicing sex toys and doors. So, you know, there's some pretty big names up there, which is very funny as well.
I also want to say the only golden genie lamp you gave out this year, Ashton, if I remember right.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's pretty
So
good.
that alone
Pretty
should
good.
excite people to check out Date Everything. Michael, you chose Megabonk on this list.
It's happening again, Joe. I didn't choose Megabonk.
Oh, no.
No.
Who picked Megabonk?
I don't know who wrote that in. I mean, it's a goofy game. It gave me a chuckle here or there. I would call it kind of funny. I would call some of these other ones definitely funnier, but Megabonk is a very memey, funny game. It has a couple, like, item descriptions, like this item claps your enemy's cheeks together until they explode or whatever. It's just stupid. Yeah, worth a chuckle here or there.
That's the one game, Silent Signs, that I regret not trying out this year.
Same here, because I think I would really like it.
Especially you, because you're a big Vampire Survivors
Yeah.
fan. So it was just a matter
I
of
would like it.
basically running out of time before we
I
actually
know.
got to try it out, unfortunately. But at least it got a mention
It's a
here on the
time
show.
sink.
Yeah, we know a lot of people
Yeah.
enjoyed it, so, you know, even if it's funniest game, that's something. The Fame game is on this list. Now, I know that was Ashton, for sure.
I think this game is funny because it's bad. I feel like this game is funny in the same way that like Hallmark movies are funny because they're just kind of janky and wonky and a bit bad. If you don't know what this is, we streamed it ages ago, and it's an FMV game where you're playing this random guy who ends up becoming famous in a day, and there's like 6 or 7 different women that you can flirt with and potentially maybe fall in love with and date during the game, but it's just total shite. And at halfway through the game you start to hear the director cueing the actresses in the background of the clips you're seeing. Normally you hear like their voice, or you just see the text box if you turn off the character's voice if you want to do it yourself. But yeah, you start hearing the director's voice halfway through, which is good fun because you can hear them sort of waiting for their cue and then saying their line. And it is funny because it is terrible in the best way. So if you want like a really janky game to play with all of your friends on like a night where you're having lots of wine or, you know, a few bevs, then the same game, Welcome to Hollywood, is brilliant in a bad way, which is great.
I don't catch a lot of streams.
So bad
but,
it's good.
That one I did catch, and my God, it was so compellingly horrible.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is that thing of like when you're watching a bad movie and you like can't help but watch it and enjoy it because it's so bad?
I was going to say,
Right.
we didn't have a lot of streams this year, but that was definitely one of my favorites. And I believe, shout out to Scrambled Ashton VODs, you can still watch it there, right?
Yes, I think it should still be on the VODs channel for me, yeah. So if you do want to watch it, it's on my VODs channel. And it's really, really good. That's why I would recommend it.
This last title in our funniest games category is one that you're now both familiar with because thanks to Mike, Ashton checked it out. This is Tall Trails. And who wants to go first talking about it? Mike, go ahead, I guess.
Yeah, I'll let Ashton do most of the talking on this one because she played it more recently, but I thought Tall Trails was hilarious in the way that like Frog Detective is hilarious. All the characters are so silly. The concept of the game is you're a little golem, you're just a little guy trying to find your purpose in life, and you have a little boot strapped to your back and you eject things out of it to make yourself jump higher, and whatever different items you eject out of your boot have different effects and whatnot, but it's mostly the character dialogue is just so goofy. The entire thing is just so goofy, including the ending, which I loved. Ashton, what'd you think?
I have only played like about 3 hours of it, but I've really enjoyed myself. My personal favourite moment was when I encountered Tiny Witch and they made me get 3 frogs for their potion, and they said, I'm now going to use this potion to commit fraud, and it made me laugh because why is a potion for committing fraud? But yeah, it's just really, it's like really silly, goofy moments, and just like a bit like, oh my gosh, what was that really English game that came out this year that was like really silly where you played a little guy? Oh, thank goodness you're here.
Thank goodness you're here.
Yeah. That again, it's a very similar sort of vibe to Thank Goodness You're Here in its sort of comedy and the way it delivers stuff. And I think it's a very British humour. I think the way that they've done it, and I think it's a really funny little game.
And shout out to that game too, because I believe that was our favorite funny game last year.
It was.
Going off memory.
Yes.
But gosh, that's such a good game.
Really tying things together.
That was my favorite funny game in a decade.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it was just one of my favorite games of that year in general.
Same.
It was so good. Mm-hmm. Even though it was like only an hour and a half, 2 hours, it was like the biggest impact of the year on me.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go into AA game of the year. A lot of these are going to sound familiar, so we won't spend too much time here, but let's just go around the room for those who did play it anyways with Claire Obscure, which is, of course, on this list. Ashton, you streamed, I want to say, the entire thing on your channel, or very close to it. Yeah. What made this game special, as if it needs more praise?
Yeah, well, I won't talk about it later, so I'll talk about it now, but I think it's just everything about it was so well done. The music, the design, the story. It was a bit confusing. It's one of those stories where you spend the entire game being like, is this what's happening? Is this what's happening? And then it's nothing like you thought. And it's definitely one of those games that when you play it through a second time, you're like, oh, that's what that is. I see. And I think it had so much going for it. And I think it's a real standout piece of what can be done with people who are just generally passionate about gaming and don't necessarily have big backing. Obviously, it had 10 million dollars behind it, but in sort of today's gaming atmosphere, that's not that much money. So for what they managed to achieve and what they've done, I think it's really quite impressive and deserves all the praise that it got for what it did deliver in the end.
Yeah, gonna get to our top 10s here pretty soon, but this one probably would have been higher on my list had I completed it. I just did not get the time to finish it. I'm on Act 2. Very eager to get back in, but fantastic game. There's really not much left to be said. Mike, any comments on this one before we move on?
I think enough's been said. I also agree it deserves all the acclaim that it got. Even if the IGAs decided to take their Game of the Year away, I don't care. I think they deserved it so much. So no more needs to be said about that.
How about the Altars, though, which is talked about, but maybe not to the same degree. I know you love this game, Mike. I think it was one of your favorites of the year.
Yeah. I love the Altar so much. I'll certainly talk about it more when we get to our top 10 list, but it is one of the most unique, creative games that I felt like swung for the fences and completely landed everything it was trying to do. It won't be for everybody, but again, I'll talk more about it.
How about Silent Signs, the return of Telltale to a degree anyways, with Dispatch?
Yeah.
Which was just phenomenal. I absolutely love that game. Way more than I was expecting to. Go ahead and comment on why it's so great.
Just about everything. Excellent storytelling, beautiful art, amazing voice acting. I really hope it is going to usher in a new era of Telltale-esque games, because I loved those games so much for their stories and the decision-making aspect of them. And it was so refreshing to see that again.
Ashley, did you play this one yet?
I haven't, but I really want to. It's on my list to play in the new year. I know I'm gonna have a good time with it as well. So I'm sort of just waiting to have some spare time. So it's definitely
great game to stream, I would say too, for sure, because you get that audience reaction where you're making the tough choices and stuff. So, Mike, what did you think of the game?
I thought it was great. And Ashton, it's also pretty short, at least compared to some of the other stuff you play. I mean, it'll take you maybe 8 hours to get through it.
It's no Claire Obscure.
Yeah, right. Dispatch was, it was what I remember of the good days of Telltale. I feel like they became sort of a narrative game machine, and the quality really started to falter over time, but Dispatch had great writing. It was genuinely funny. Also a really funny game, I thought. And the little management minigame was not really so much a minigame. It was pretty fleshed out. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, the thing with Dispatch for me was the choices were really kind of actually more difficult than I would have thought. You had these two female characters in the game, and I was kind of attached to both of them. I was like, how do I choose between these two characters? This is spicy. And I loved that. It got me thinking, and it made me make some tough critical choices, even though maybe they're not as meaningful in the end. I don't know. I didn't get every possible outcome or ending, but still, it was really fun to have that feeling,
also,
again, that your choices mattered.
And I can't stress this enough. Beef.
Yeah, yes.
That's all.
Yes, the dog in the game, for those that don't know. Which of you wrote Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, if any of you?
I put it in there as the one that got away from me this year. I played a couple hours of it, and I loved so much of what I was playing. It is such a work of art, such a culmination of this developer's passion. And it got a decent amount of attention, but I think Claire Obscure kind of overshadowed it. And I think after the first couple hours playing it, I was just like, I would love to play more of this. I just do not have the time right now, and I haven't gotten back to it. I'm gonna start over at some point soon when I do have the time, but it is still a tremendous game. I can just tell from a few hours with it that it's worth shouting out at the very least in this category.
But now it's time to get into our personal top 10. So, how do y'all want to do this? Do you want me to just run through my 10, or do you want to go 10, 10, 10, 10 around the room?
I actually want to see you run as you shout out your top 10.
Okay, I could do that if you really want. All right, let's see here. Let me pull it up.
I think it would be fun to do 10, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9 if it's not going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I do have my notes up. I have no shame here because
I don't remember what mine are either, so I'll have to.
I will help you out, Silent Signs.
Great. Well, I have a phone too.
Number 10 on my list. Favorite games of the year. surprise one here. It was Luto, a game that I also know you enjoyed very much. This is a first-person horror game that kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody was talking about this game. It just ended up in my inbox, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of a curiosity. It was sort of a slow time for the channel. I put that game on, and I felt very much like when I tried the demo for PT. I was like, this is scary, and I wasn't expecting to be scared right now. I can remember that PT day like it was yesterday. It was bright and sunny outside, and I'm playing this game like, why is this so scary? And Ludo kind of made me feel that way again in a lot of ways.
Why am I anxious right now?
I don't know if it has the most amazing puzzle design in the world. I think some of the narration was a little bit, we didn't need this necessarily, but it is very atmospheric. It looks beautiful. This came from a very small team at the least.
It was their first game.
It was their first game,
their
I believe.
Debut game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it was a solo developer, but it was definitely a really, really impressive, spooky, atmospheric game with a cool story and some clever puzzles. They're not all amazing, but I still really, really like that game. So that was my number 10. We will go to...
Should I go now?
Just go to Ashton. Sure.
Mine's something very different. My number 10 is a game called Sticky Business, which is a cozy game, cute cozy game, not even a little ounce of fear, even a little tiny bit, where you just have a business where you design and you sell stickers. And they have an entire selection of different designs you can stick on your various stickers. You have requests from buyers where they're like, I would like a sticker with some rocks on it, please. And I'm like, can do. Let me make you a rock sticker. It's just nice and very sweet, and you can download your sticker designs and make them into real stickers should you really wish to. And it's just a lovely cozy time. They have another game coming out next year, I think, called Thrifty Business, that they've just dropped in sort of the wholesome direct that happened last week or the week before, and it's very nice, and I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with it, and I think it is a lovely little game. So yes.
I actually forgot about that game until you just brought that up. Now I remember that being announced, and it looked really cute.
It did look very cute.
It's very sweet.
Another one we missed this year. Silent Signs, you want to go next?
Sure. This is going to sound familiar. I had Ludo.
We didn't plan this together either, did we?
No, I came up with my list all by my lonesome, but we happened to have the last game be the same. Not to say it's like the worst, but it just felt right to
It's a top 10. I mean, that's pretty good when like 5,000 games came out.
So. Absolutely. It stuck in my mind as a horror game I enjoyed this year, which is always good. So,
Barely Magic Mike, your number 10.
Sure, my number 10 is Spooky Express, which is a game that I don't think got nearly enough attention this year, and it's a puzzle game that comes really without pretense. You do the tutorial, you go through these little worlds on this overworld map. There's not a whole lot of story going on, which I think is good. You just jump into the puzzles one by one. You have to guide a little train along a track and pick up like a vampire and drop him off at his coffin, and then pick up a zombie and drop him off at his grave. And the puzzles get incredibly clever. I think there's a lot of really awesome design, and I forget what it costs. It might have been $11 or $12 or something like that, but there are over 200 puzzles. There's a ton of content, and it's a game that I have just, I tend to jump in and out of games pretty quickly, but I've had this one installed on Steam Deck for a while. It's just such an easy game to like wind down with. It's very cozy despite the horror themes. I really, really liked it. So, Spooky Express, worth a look if you're into puzzle games.
I will go with my number 9 now. I talked about it a little earlier in the show. It is Silly Polly Beast, completely over-the-top, insane survival horror meets top-down shooter, meets all these crazy different concepts.
And skateboarding.
I was just about to mention that. No, you reminded me. My brain's a million places right now. But Silly Polly Beast, really great game. I've talked about it earlier in this show. Buy it. If you want more creative indies out there, support them, I say, damn it. Who we go to next? Ashton is number 9, right?
Sorry, my cat started mounting my bookshelf.
It's okay. My dog just barged in here too. So.
Yeah, we had to guide him in because he was scared of the door.
Great. Yeah, my number 9 is a puzzle game as well. It's called Is This Seat Taken? It was very sweet. Again, another I feel like a lot of mine are very low stakes. It's been one of those years where I've wanted a low stakes, easy breezy games to play. And Is This Seat Taken is one of those. It is a puzzle game where you simply have to make sure that all the little shape men are in the right place, because some of them don't like it stinky, some of them don't like it loud, some want to sit down, some want to stand up. And it's really a sort of puzzle game of figuring out the one place that people can go to make sure that they are content with their location. I think it was really clever the way they did this, and all the puzzles felt satisfying to complete. It never felt too complicated. Occasionally I was getting annoyed. I was like, can we just move forward from a guy being stinky? I think we can all, progress past the stinky man. But yeah, I think it's a good little puzzle game, and it's a fun few hours if you're looking for something to sort of make your brain work, but not make it work too hard. So,
Silent Signs, number 9 for you.
Number 9, I had one that was fairly recent, actually. Morsels.
Yes,
was a
you
game
like this way more than I did.
That I liked a lot, that I didn't actually think I would like, because I don't know, roguelite games are super hit or miss for me. They either frustrate the hell out of me, or I get so addicted to them that I cannot stop. And this was more of the latter. It has this really cool element. I don't remember if I talked about this last time we were filming this, but it has this really cool element of creature collecting meets roguelite Binding of Isaac style gameplay. So if you enjoy Pokemon and weird Binding of Isaac-esque art, this is a good one that you should definitely check out and get addicted to.
Barely Magic Mike.
All right, my number 9 is Clover Pit. This game was kind of a perfect mashup of Balatro and Buckshot Roulette. And even though some of the horrorness didn't really punch through as much as I kind of wanted, it was a very minor issue. Overall, the game was so addictive. It was easily the most addictive Balatro-like I have tried since Balatro. It had me hooked for at least 20 hours, I think. I was very, very into it. That's a lot for me in any roguelite, honestly. And there was just something so satisfying about watching the slot machine go ding, ding, ding and rack up all these jackpots. It was a great game. Very into Clover Pit.
My number 8, what's left to say? It's Claire Obscure. Again, that would be higher up on the list probably had I played it more and got to the end. It's phenomenal. It has great turn-based combat. I suck at parrying, and that's probably not going to change anytime soon. My brother mocked me when he was over at how bad I was at the parrying because he picked up the controller and just dominated the game without issue. But I don't care. I still love this game. I think it's great sound design. It's masterful art design. It's awesome. Everybody knows it. It's the story of the year. Great game. Number 8, Ashton, go ahead.
It's Tiny Bookshop, another game where my brain doesn't have to think too hard and I'm just having a nice time. Tiny Bookshop is really simple. You just have a car with a little trailer that's full of books that you can pick every day, which ones you put in your van. You go to various locations, all of which require different things from you. Some areas have people who want crime books. Some areas have more people that want kids books, that kind of thing. And the best thing about it, I think, is that every now and then you will get a customer who wants a specific request and they will say, I like this kind of book, can you recommend a book for me? And you have to go through all of your books in your collection and recommend one. Though sometimes they'll be like, I like books by William Shakespeare, do you have anything like that? And you'll say, okay, here's Hamlet. And they'll be like, that wasn't what I was looking for. And you're like, okay, sure, fine. But there's occasionally a few little weird things where these requests are either too specific or not specific enough and they get very upset. But for the most part, I think it's a really good game and it has a lot of fun mechanics and nice moments. And yeah, it's just a cozy little bookshop sim, and it's always fun to play cozy games. So,
well, you can tell what genre she likes.
Yep.
Silent Signs.
Oh, yeah, get ready for that. Get ready for more of that.
Go ahead, milady.
Okay, you can probably tell what genres I like, too, because my number 8 was Heartworm.
You're on the opposite sides of the spectrum here. Okay.
Bringing the black cat energy to this today. Heartworm's a really cool nod to old-timey survival horror games.
Yes, the Resident Evils of yore.
Of yore, yes. It's got a really nice style to it. It plays really well. You can change the controls between tank controls and modern controls, which is a godsend for someone like me who can't do tank controls to save my own life. If I had to tank control myself out of like a saw trap, I would be deceased.
Oh, that's a funny image.
But yeah, this is a great game. I think they did a really good job of doing what they like intended to do when they made this game. Great style.
You know, you actually just reminded me of that game. It is really awesome.
It is.
If we had a top 11, that probably would have been my 11.
Yeah.
So good call there. Appreciate you shouting out a smaller, forgotten indie from this year. Verily Magic Mike.
All right, my number 8 is Dispatch. Love Dispatch, love the story. Totally want to play it again sometime. Really loved, actually dispatching the superheroes to different assignments and leveling them up, and I was very immersed in every episode. I even like the episodic structure, just kind of talking to people about it each week and kind of getting into each new pack of episodes that came out. It was definitely one of my standouts of the year, and I don't really like superhero stuff all that much. It's not really my thing because most of it is not as clever as Dispatch was. So, take that for what it is. Great game.
Fantastic. On to my number 7, which is Ender Magnolia. Talked about it again earlier. I think, for my money, the best Metroidvania game of this year. You can come at me with your comments below. I'm sure you're going to have a particular game that we all know the name of.
Silksong.
Yes, exactly. But Ender Magnolia was masterful in its map design, has a beautiful soundtrack that we discussed earlier when it was featured in our best soundtrack section. Graphics are amazing, it plays great. I love the RPG elements. I personally think this game was much better than Silksong, based on what I played of Silksong. I guess the thing here is the anime aesthetic might not be for everyone, but I personally like anime art. But other than that, fantastic game. Number 7 for Ashton.
Yes.
I don't know why I was looking around like she was in the room with me.
Where are you?
Okay, don't be mad. It's another game that's very similar. It's Camper Van Make It Home. It's a cozy little game where you have a camper van and you just got to put your shit away in a camper van in a nice way so everything has its own space and it looks nice. And you've got a little narrative that's happening in the background. Not quite the same level of narrative as unpacking, but a little narrative of your characters sort of exploration of their own individuality and the way their space grows. You also have some actually really lovely music, and music's sort of a very big part of that game. You have an iPod sort of dock at the beginning, and at the end you have an entire vinyl selection of different music from the game that you can play. It's just a lovely time, and I sort of thought at the beginning of this year I'd put a game like Discounty on my list because Discounty is similar but a bit different. However, Discounty kind of let me down, so it's a lot more sort of casual, non-story based games for me, but Campervan is a lovely few hours, and I would recommend it to someone who's looking to just get away from the comfort of their own home. So yeah.
Wait, so you're saying we should buy Discounty on discount? That's a good one.
I would say buy Discounty on discount, indeed.
I was just going to say real quick that we would never be mad that you picked a cozy game. I love that everybody has like their own list of games and there aren't very many repeats. That means like we got to spread
more exposure for more indies,
games.
I say. Yep.
Indeed.
Absolutely. Next year won't be so cozy for you, though, I assure you.
Oh.
All right.
No.
Silent Signs.
Yes. What are we on? Number 7?
Yes.
Number 7, I had Knights in Tight Spaces, not to be confused with Men in Tights, which is an entirely different thing, but also great.
I like this game a lot, too. Good choice.
Knights in Tight Spaces was a strategy game that I actually, if I remember correctly, I gave it a Golden Genie lamp.
Yeah.
And I almost forgot about it until I was thinking of the games that I really enjoyed playing this year. This one I liked particularly because it's a very well explained, which I feel like is something that strategy games need for me to be able to like stick with it and digest it. And it also... because the knights are in tight spaces, they're very easy to digest puzzles. So each one feels very Like, you're not going to be spending an hour on it to, like, figure it out, and if you fail, you're going to have to repeat the whole thing. It's nice and easily digestible.
Isn't that cool art style, too? Like the stenciled art?
Yeah.
Really neat.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. On to Barely Magic Mike.
All right, my number 7 was a recent one. It was Skate Story. I view Skate Story as the quintessential game that is greater than the sum of its parts. I feel like the soundtrack, the visuals, the sort of easy to pick up, hard to master skating gameplay, and even to some degree the story, even though I had some issues with the story's intrusiveness throughout the game. It all came together into such a trippy, crazy, creative, psychedelic experience, and the sort of thing that no AAA publisher would ever back, would ever release. It was just such a risky project, and I think Sam Eng nailed it so hard, and I'm still listening to Blood Cultures all the time, so that one is very memorable for me.
On to my number 6, which is Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. I'm not Mr. Open World usually, not my usual genre, but this game really pulled off something incredible, being like the size and scope of an Elder Scrolls from that series, and being a smaller game, really, ultimately, in how it was made, which just blew me away, the depth of this game. You know, this company is also known for tabletop games, so they're great at writing stories. This game had rich lore to it, beautiful visuals. I was beyond impressed that they were able to pull off a game of such scope on this smaller budget with this smaller team, and I'm pretty sure you're going to probably be mentioning this one, too. At some point here,
probably so.
Fantastic game. One thing with these games, I never like being over-encumbered.
I know.
You know, it's like you're walking all slow.
I hate that.
That needs to be pulled from video games.
It is annoying.
Just saying. But other than that.
But it's also relatable, like, this time of year when you got, like, your winter coat on and a sweater and a hat and a scarf and gloves, and then you just feel like you're going to topple over if you have to pick up something else. So I understand.
Miss Ashton, number 6.
Yes, my number 6 is Date Everything. I really love that game and I have a lot of love for it, but I do think that it's massive. It's almost bigger than I think most people will have an attention span for, because 100 different dateable objects, all of which require multiple days of conversation to sort of get anywhere with, tends to add up to quite a few hours. I think I have I want to say 30 hours in Date Everything, and I still haven't met everything and have not had has many successful dates at all. But I think it's a really good game, and like I was saying earlier, it has a lot going for it. It's visually very fun. It is sort of voice actingly obviously very fantastic, so it has a lot going for it. I just think maybe it's ever so slightly too big, and if it wasn't so big, it may have been higher up on my list.
And maybe the only game where you can date a dildo, was it? Or something along those lines.
butt
It's a sex toy.
Butt plug. That's what it was. I mixed up butt plug and dildo.
I'll
My
forgive
bad.
you this time.
How dare
Just
you?
this once.
Yeah, easy to do.
Silent Signs, number 6.
Yeah. My number 6 was Ender Magnolia, which is something you already brought up a little bit higher up my list than your list. I loved it so much. Really enjoyed Ender Lilies, and I think that Ender Magnolia improves on just about everything from that game. So the visuals are beautiful, the lore is nice, the boss fights are satisfying. It's got a great map, it's got beautiful music. Really nothing to lag. I don't want to harp on it too long because we've already talked about it, but love that game.
Great job, Silent Signs, picking that one. It's a good game.
Yes, excellent.
Barely Magic Mike.
All right, my number 6 was Haste, which I would say was my flow state game of the year. I think for weeks I was playing Haste, and it's kind of a roguelike. I say kind of because there are a bunch of different areas, and you have sort of a roguelike run through every given area. It's not like you're playing the whole game from beginning to end as a roguelike run, which I sort of appreciated, but everything about Haste comes together so beautifully. The music is incredible. The feeling, the sense of speed, the feeling of accomplishment when you just land a perfect jump and everything. It's kind of a simple game, but I loved it so much, and I was just locked in for so much of my time playing it. It was pretty hard to pull myself away from it. Even people that sort of came over and watched me play it, who don't even really play many games, were like, what is this game? It looks awesome. It really is an incredible looking experience. So, loved that one.
On to number 5. For me, it is, in my opinion, the most underrated indie of the year. It is Steel Seed, which is, I don't care what you say out there, it's an awesome stealth game. It's got great graphics. It's got fun gameplay. It's got, okay, the story's not great, I'll admit it, but it's really fun to play, and that's why you play video games at the end of the day, right? So I will sing to the clouds about Steel Seed. I will take it to the grave with me how great it was. Awesome game. Not enough people bought it. Go buy it. That's my advice. Silence. Nope. Scrambled signs. Scrambled signs. Scrambled action. Scrambled action.
Yes. My number 5 is Arctic Awakening. It is a little bit, hey, it's not a cozy game and it will stress you out. This one is a first-person adventure, very similar to Firewatch for fans of that game, but sort of the opposite in that you're on a very snowy area of, oh my god, what is that state that's really cold?
Alaska.
It's like Alaska. Thank you. I knew you guys would know. I was going to say Antarctica, but I knew that was wrong. So you end up sort of crash landed there, and you have a little robot companion, and you're trying to rescue your friends, but there's obviously some sort of mysterious science happening, and it's just in general a really interesting area, like world they've built, and really fun to play. It's a walking sim in a lot of ways, but has a lot of it's mainly just a walking sim, but it's a really fun game and has a really interesting story. And I recommend, if you're a fan of Firewatch, to sink a few hours into Arctic Awakening, because it is worth your time, I think. So check that one out.
Now, silent signs.
Okay, fine. Mine's going to be real fast again because it's going to be another repeat. Next on my list was Tainted Grail. It's a game we've never heard of, talked about yet.
There were bound to be some repeats.
Yeah, especially because we play a lot of the same games being in the same household. But this is a great one. Huge scope, incredible, very impressive game. If you're looking for something to like bang for your buck, get a lot of time out of and gameplay out of, this is the indie to buy. It's very impressive. Great visuals, great soundtrack, great day-night cycle. No complaints.
On to you, Mike.
My number 5 was Consume Me. I really loved Consume Me. I don't think I've ever played anything quite like it. The way the developer kind of gamified her experiences from her own life into a bunch of different mini games, like really resonated with me. I don't feel like enough people checked it out. It's very funny. It's very well written. And yeah, just a very unique experience that I think more people should check out for sure.
My number 4 is Artist Impact, which was also featured in the narrative category earlier because I think it has great characters. I think it's so charming. I love the traditional RPG gameplay, but the idea of making it easy on purpose was intriguing to me because you're like, I'm just kind of breezing through these battles, but the more you learn about the game, the more you realize it's part of the game without spoiling too much, and it's a really charming little RPG that, again, not enough people played this year, in my opinion. So Artist Impact, way up on my list, number 4. And back to Ashton.
My number 4 is Blueprints. We talked about it earlier, so I won't talk about it too much more, but I think it was a really nifty little puzzler and had me hooked for hours, which is always a good way of knowing that I've enjoyed something, or at least that it's got its hooks in me for some reason. And Blueprints did in a lot of ways, and I think that I'm glad it got a lot of recognition this year. Being nominated for Indie Game at the Game Awards is huge for a game of this size, so I think Blueprints is a really fantastic game, and I would recommend, if you enjoy a puzzler, that you check out Blueprints.
Another one I regret not playing this year, unfortunately. So how's that?
Number 4, I chose Absalom, which I feel like is probably going to be on your list at some point too.
Maybe. No spoilers.
Okay, no spoilers. Absalom is great. We've already talked about it, so I won't harp on it too much once again, but it is a great multiplayer game, which I can't stress enough is like so great for this style of gameplay where you're doing like the roguelike run-based type of games. Great character design, beautiful art, very fun, very satisfying. There's difficulty options. Yeah, great game.
Mike, on to you.
All right, my number 4 is Citizen Sleeper 2, which I consider just a template for how to do a sequel. Everything about Citizen Sleeper 2 is better than the first game. It's a bigger game. It definitely took me longer to beat. It felt like there were a lot more. I don't know if there were more impactful options, but there were still quite a few impactful options. They evolved the gameplay in ways that felt really meaningful. And the writing was just exactly as excellent as I expected coming from the first game. It was everything I wanted it to be. So great job to the devs there. I hope we see more from them.
Number 3 for me is Look Outside, which is just awesome. We've mentioned it so many times in this video already. It's spooky, it's moody, it's atmospheric, it's got cool RPG elements. You can do whatever the heck you want in this weird cryptic house. You'll meet lots of strange characters. It has Undertale vibes. It has all sorts of weird stuff to discover. Awesome game. Sorry I'm speedrunning it, but I want to give recognition to some more games too.
Fair enough.
Number 3 now, Scrambled Ashton.
Power Wash Sim 2. I can't explain it. It's not really a game, really, if you think about it too hard, but I love it. I finished it after playing it for about 50 hours. I sunk a lot of time into Power Wash Sim 2. It was my most played game on Steam this year, which I don't know if I should be ashamed or proud of that. But I love this. I love this game. I love the first one. I'm very excited they've announced an Adventure Time crossover, that they're going to be doing some more DLC for it. Very exciting for me personally. But yeah, I just love a game where I can just switch my brain off and have that satisfaction of hearing that little ding when I've cleaned a chair. It just feels good, and I will continue to play it for as long as they make content for it. Power of Sim 2, man, it has me by the balls.
I am tempted to try it now after my time with Ambrosia Sky, which is somewhat similar to that, and I kind of got it. You're just kind of chilling out and getting rid of every last little detail. And
oh my god, if there's an Adventure Time tie-in, I'm so in.
Yeah, I like that.
That's amazing.
Very cool. Very cool. Who's next here? Silent Signs, you,
Me!
Right? Yep.
It's The Drifter.
The Drifter, great game. Is this the first time we mentioned it? Maybe so.
I don't remember. I barely remember Breakfast.
Well, it's great.
The Drifter is a great game. It's a point and click of sorts. Beautiful pixel art style, really dark and atmospheric, but also a great sense of humor.
Aussie grindhouse story to it.
Yeah. Super, super cool game. I would be shocked if we didn't mention it at some point. I feel like I did it at some point. But regardless,
it got mentioned now. Damn it.
It's been mentioned now. It was my third favorite game this year.
Who's next? Barely Magic Mike, right?
Yes, number 3, The Seance of Blake Manor. Already talked about this a bunch, but The Seance of Blake Manor shows me that there is much runway left for developers making detective games. There were so many unique aspects of this game, from the mind map that kind of keeps track of everything in your investigation to all the side stories that every character has that aren't even necessarily related to the overarching plot. There's so much here. The writing is great, the characters are great. Really like the visuals. Anybody interested in detective games, sort of like Obra Dinn or Case of the Golden Idol, this one is definitely on the easier side than those in terms of the actual deduction stuff, but it's mostly in service of a really cool plot that they definitely want you to get through. So check that one out. Definitely one of the best of the year.
My number 2, Silent Signs, you kind of read my mind. It's also The Drifter, which
it?
really took the point-and-click genre in this new exciting direction. It made it very accessible for people that aren't usually a fan of the genre to jump in, be able to control it quite simply. This is the first point-and-click game I can remember that I actually thought was better with a controller, which seems impossible and doesn't make sense in my brain still, but they pulled it off really well. But I love the narrative. I love the voice acting of this game. The story really goes interesting places, too. I think the writing was very well done.
Yeah.
Great game. Probably the best point and click. Well, definitely the best, in my opinion, point and click of the year. If you want to even call it a point and click, because it is kind of a hybrid of different genres. So.
It's detective-y, Mike. You might like it.
It's really good. I think Mike did try it.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I did try it. I didn't get too far because there was some point and click logic that I was like, I don't know, my brain doesn't work this way, but I kind of wanted to stick with it more than I did. It was really cool.
Scrambled Ashton.
My number 2 is Town to City, which I cannot remember if we spoke about, if I brought it up before, but it is a really nifty city town builder, and I just think it's something quite special. It's a town builder without the sort of pressures of a normal city sort of Skylines-esque builder. There's no... People aren't going to leave your town if they're unhappy. They're just going to sit in being unhappy for a bit, and then they'll get happy later on, which I love. Nobody's going to be like, I'm leaving this town, I'm never coming back. I love it. It's also just gorgeous and has such a nice vibe. And the music's lovely and the sandbox is good fun. So I think it's something special. It's only in early access, so I'm excited to see where they go with it. And I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with Town to City, and I think it's great.
Awesome. Number 2, and it's an early access game. That's a very good sign.
Yeah,
I would say.
for sure.
Silent Signs.
Number 2 for me was a very long-awaited title, Demon School.
Yes, even more long-awaited thanks to Silk Songs.
Yeah, another strategy game on my list, which I used to never play strategy games, so it's hilarious that there are 2.
You've become quite the strategy gal in the last few years working at this channel.
I have become a strategy girl. What happened? What happened to me?
I don't know.
But this one has an awesome style to it. It's once again pixel art, but it's done in a really unique way where there's like the 2D sprites on like 3D backgrounds. There's some really cool bosses. Battles are graded and not too challenging, which I think will be the only downside for people who like really hardcore strategy games. But for me, they were perfect. And there's also like relationship building, and the characters are really fun, and it's humorous. And the music is
To die for.
bomb.
It's very good. Barely Magic Mike. Number 2.
Number 2 is Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Have we brought this one up yet?
I have never heard
this
of
is the
it.
first
So.
time. What's that game?
I think it's
I
pretty
don't know.
underground.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what more is there to say? Pretty much knocked it out of the park in every conceivable category. Deserves its spot. Deserves its acclaim. That's it.
All right, well, I guess this brings me to my personal game of the year, which was Absalom. Great brawler. Amazing game. You know, if you asked me at the beginning of this year, my favorite game would have been a brawler. Even though it's one of my favorite genres, I probably would have said, nah, there's going to be something absolutely astronomically amazing out there. But Absalom was that astronomically amazing
Not
game.
just a brawler, though, a roguelike brawler.
Yes, I know, right? It goes against
Crazy.
like everything that I would have thought would have been my favorite game of the year. But
Yeah.
it's so well executed. The combat system is amazing. It's so fun co-op, too. I love the accessibility options. Anyone can jump in and play it. It's not overly difficult necessarily, but the challenge is there if you want it. The comic book art is amazing. The sound design is amazing. The game is amazing. What else is there to say? My favorite game of the year. Absalom. Ashton, your favorite game of the year. This will be interesting.
I'm sure I do Mike Stroke. I don't know if anyone's talked about this yet. It's probably gone under the radar quite a lot, but it's Claire Obscure.
Oh, man, I said this would be interesting. Damn it.
Wow.
Sorry, yeah. It's very different to everything else that I've mentioned on my list but I think that that's what's made it stand out so much to me. I won't say much more about it because we've said so much about it already, but I just really enjoyed it, and it gave me a really nice few weeks of playtime with it, which felt that was all meaningful and useful. And I think that that's what some of the games on my list, I sometimes feel a bit bad when I'm playing a cozy game because Power Wash them, I always feel like maybe I'm wasting my time because I'm just cleaning a fucking house or something. But Claire Obscure felt like a really good use of my time and felt like something special. So that's why it gets mine and everyone else in the world's number 1 spot. So
Here's a question for everyone. We can talk about a little something different with that game. Has its like recent use of AI soured it at all, do you think, in any way? Because for me, no, it was just placeholder content, but I'm just curious to get your opinions.
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's because it's not like actively in the game. The altars was the same, wasn't it, Mike? Like they had
Similar
some use of
situation,
AI
I think,
in
right?
theirs as well. Yeah. So I don't know if it's hard to draw the line about where you think it should be included. I think like I was saying earlier, like I'd rather it wasn't used, but if it's going to be used, at least it was used early on and then replaced by actual artists and art. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard because it does sour a little bit in my mouth, but also I had such a good time with it, and that wasn't actively in the game, so I feel like it's like not too bad in my head.
And I feel like if it's not like intentional deception, that's a different story. Like they weren't putting it in there to try and trick you. It was just
what a crazy
something
time for video games. Like
Yeah.
on the daily, I'm dealing with comments that Joe, that game's got AI. Why is this on this list? And I'm like, I'm getting tired of all this AI stuff. It's been a long year of it, and it's probably gonna be a longer
It's
year.
only
next year.
gonna get worse,
Yeah.
brother.
It's like, how do I choose? I want to show these games, but they might have AI disclosures. Do I still show this game? We're in like this weird no-win situation right now.
It's an evolving situation, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Can I talk about my number one game now?
Sorry, yeah, went on a
It's a
tangent
Claire.
there.
No, just kidding. It's not Claire Obscure. Only because I didn't play it. Sorry.
Like the only girl in the world that didn't play that
I
game.
might be the only human in the world.
She's not like other girls.
I'm not like other girls. My top game of the year was Look Outside. I loved that game. It was one of the first games I played this year, I think. Like, way back. I don't know, January,
It was
February.
pretty early on, yeah. It was a stealth drop, too.
It was, and I just fell in love with it instantly. I know we've talked about this already, but it's one of those games where I booted it up and I was like, this is something special right here. Like, this is why I play video games. Like, it's such an intriguing premise of you're stuck in this house and like, why are you stuck in this house? Like,
Yeah, why does
what's
looking
going on
outside
out
like
there?
make your skin potentially... It shows it in the trailer.
No spoilers. It's the kind of game that you need to play to understand what's so appealing
I'm going to have to
about
do
it.
another beep sound because
Beep yourself out, will ya? Go study the difference between butt plugs and dildos, please.
I have no experience with either. I'm sorry.
On that.
But yeah, I loved Look Outside. It's such a creative, beautiful human product that I adored, and I think everyone should play.
Yeah, and to that developer, what's going on in your head, buddy? That's some crazy.
Whatever is wrong with you, I love.
Hey, Mike, let's close this thing out with your number one.
Let's close it out. I think I was a bit of an outlier on this game. It seemed like it was very well received overall, but I loved it so much. If you told me my game of the year would be a mix of Death Stranding style exploration plus base building plus The Sims, I would have been like, how do those things even work together? The answer is they work together tremendously in The Altars. I have never reviewed a better game for this channel. I was so blown away with The Altars. It is one of very, very, very few games in my last, decade plus as a working adult that has kept me up till 3 a.m. on a weeknight just trying to see what happens next, just trying to grind out a few more resources to hit my next objective and figure out what is going on in its crazy world. I love The Altar so much. I think it was so snubbed this year at all the awards, and I hope there are other people out there who enjoyed it as much as I did, because what a game. I cannot wait to find the time to play it again someday. Tremendous experience from beginning to end.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our favorite indie games of the year. I think we've honored a ton. Silent Signs. It's been an amazing year in indie gaming. Amazing year for this channel. It was the biggest year in I Dream of Indie Games history, and we owe that to you, the audience out there, for still watching this after 6 damn years. I don't know why you do it, but we love you because you do. I'm going to roll out the red carpet for each and every one of you now, and you can say your thank yous and you can do your plugs and whatever you want. I'll start with, you're the newcomer, Ashton. What do you want to say to the I Dream of Indie Games community out there?
Hey! I would like to say thank you for welcoming me. It's been such a lovely year. Well, it's been a tough year, then a good year, which is lovely. And I've enjoyed my time with it, and I'm glad that my reviews have been relatively on track with everyone else, and I haven't been just like insanely wrong with any of my reviews, as it were. But also that I have, it's been lovely, and you've all been very kind. If you'd like to find me anywhere, I'm Scrambled Ashton on literally everything. So if you want to watch any streams, I'm Scrambled Ashton on Twitch, and you can follow me all over the place at Scrambled Ashton if you would like to.
Let's roll it out for Barely Magic Mike. potentially a future game developer here.
Yes, I hope so. I've had a pretty crazy year this year, and I feel like this year did feel different with I Dream of Indie Games, but different in a good way. We did so much more. I did so much more. I feel like there was so much going on. We got really into shorts. We did a ton of reviews, ton of lists and all that kind of stuff. Lots of podcasting. And I've had such a good time, and it definitely helped me through some of the harder times of the year. So thank all of you for watching this massive video, for checking out all of our reviews, for constantly pointing out how bad I am at first-person shooters. I know I'm not that great at them, but I do still enjoy them sometimes. And yeah, just for helping us bring a voice to the voiceless. We appreciate everybody so tremendously.
Well, I'd like to thank my incredible staff here. You've all been amazing. You've been probably the best part of my whole year. I love you all dearly, and I couldn't have done this without you. It was really, really an incredible experience to keep a team together, because there's a lot of in and out over the years. It's been tough, Silent Signs, as you know, ups and downs. But we've gotten through it, and we've covered a hell of a lot of indie games this year. Gosh, if I had to put a number on it, probably over 500 of them. All I can say is thanks, and to the community, thanks for holding me accountable. When I fuck something up, you definitely always let me know, and I appreciate that. But that makes the channel get better and better. We keep growing, we keep learning from our mistakes, even all these years later, and keep getting better and better, I think. Silent Signs, what would you like to say to our dear community?
Nothing that hasn't already been said 1,000 times or at the end of every video. Thank you. Just thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for allowing us to do what we do and actually listening, and for giving us grace when we screw something up, and for being nice to us and telling us we're pretty.
I never got one of those comments.
And that you love us. No, but yeah, thank you for watching. It's been a hell of a ride. I can't believe it's been 6 years of this.
Yeah, and I'd say most of all, thanks to all the indie developers and publishers that gave us an opportunity to actually cover your games.
Yes.
We don't take it for granted. It's a great privilege to be able to talk about all the great indie games of the world, to play them in many cases before anybody else, and it means a lot that you care about what we have to say for some reason. So thank you again. 2026, it'll be even bigger than last year going off of history. Voice to the voiceless, everybody, and we'll see you for more great indie gaming coverage. I'm going to go sleep for a while now. And I love all your faces, but I don't want to look at them for at least 2 days, because it's Christmas time.
It's too bad you have to look at mine anyway. Happy New Year!
All right, I'll look at yours. That's fine. Bye-bye, everybody. For too long, we've watched indie developers and publishers pushed aside, their voices drowned out and forgotten. The Metacritic machine churns on, flooding the industry with relentless waves of AAA coverage, while the creators who dare to think differently fade into obscurity. One article, one video after another, gamers are force-fed the same stories, the same faces, the same recycled titles. And in the shadows, an angry culture rises. Indie warriors, together we face a new dawn, a place free from the chaos of angry gamer culture, where honesty reigns and fairness is reclaimed in gaming media. The time is now. This moment doesn't belong to any one of us, it belongs to all of us. United, we give voice to those who have been silenced. United, we come together and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.